Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. And now, it's time!
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome one and all to this reinvigorated, rejuvenated Knowledge North Late Show. Of course, as you can see by our stellar cast, it's not only Knowledge North. Inshallah, we are going to collab from here on in and have a multi-party panel of hosts, co-hosts, each is equal as the other, and inshallah we'll all be able to stream simultaneously. But this is the platform we have just for now. Let's get straight into the introductions. We have on our bottom left our brother, the Da'i, son of the Da'i, Khalid. Happy as Larry Barry. How are you doing, Khalid?
Very good. Barakallah feekum.
Pleasure to have you with us. And then to his right, we have all the way from Palestine with the investigative skills of a Muslim Dick Tracy. It's Qaisi. How are you doing, bro?
Alhamdulillah. Alaikum assalam.
Good to have you. And then finally at the top, my friend from Manchester, the original ginger, who's going to bring all the pain, is brother John Fontaine.
Assalamu alaikum.
So
You caught me off guard with the intro.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Could have been better. Well, of course, we've advertised this stream as a kind of recapturing, reclamation of the Dawa scene in some ways, and we can't avoid the issue of Mohammed Hijab because he's been on a tear, but not in a good way, against Salafism, as he styled it. So we're going to stick with that term, Salafiyya in Arabic. What does this word mean, and how he's misrepresented it, how he's went after certain scholars, misrepresented other scholars more classical than the others, and then how he's tied it in with a bit of race baiting, and so on and so forth. So we hope to set the record straight. Recently, we had a discussion between Mohammed Hijab and a self-styled Saudi nationalist, and we're going to play 3 clips from there, and then we're going to give our reaction, and inshallah we will open the floor for Q&A, whether if someone wants to jump on screen with their camera. I know that's easy for me to say, not showing myself, but do as I say, not as I do, as it were. And if someone doesn't want to come on screen, then they can simply put their questions into the chat. How's about that? Now without further ado, I guess let's get into it. I want to start with a quote, sorry.
First of all, I wanted to say we had this idea of doing this, show because we wanted to bring a bit of perspective to what's going on in the Dawa scene, on YouTube, and there's a lot going on, and people are confused. It's very easy for people to make a case for themselves if they've not heard the other side, and I think it'll be a good chance to inform people and educate people about the wider implications of what's going on in the Dawa scene. So inshallah, hopefully people will get a lot of benefit from this.
100%. What say you, Sheikh Khalid?
Yeah, inshallah, there's a lot that needs to be done, It's a very sad case, I think, in general humanity, is that a lot of people have energy without ability. And I suppose where greatness comes is where energy and ability, combine. So many people have ability, but not the energy or the desire to push themselves forward. And other people have energy, and push themselves forward, even though they're perhaps not capable. So it's a common problem in all fields, but it's become more so in the Dawa field, obviously, since YouTube and social media's become like a box everybody can stand on and shout as loud as they can,
Absolutely. That and Qaisi, what do you say before we move on to that?
I just think if it's about checking people. Like I think when certain brothers speak about the importance of having mashayikh or people you go back to, it's about getting checked. It's about getting checked, meaning you make a mistake or you say things that just go on, undisputed, and people think that this is just how it is, or we're not gonna push back at all. Certain people, like let's say Yasser Qadi and other individuals, they do this on podcasts. They go on the podcast, they say the most ridiculous things that have no bearing on reality, on literature, or anything like that, and people just accept it. So there has to be pushback. This is not, the internet is a wide space and people have different opinions. And hopefully, when people look at the other side, as the brother mentioned, people maybe start questioning certain beliefs and things they used to hold dear, or they used to believe as a aqidah. So yeah, inshallah khair akhi.
Okay, Shah, so I'm going to start off with a clip. This isn't from the debate and the discussion we mentioned. This was from earlier in the week, if not the tail end of last week. So it's a very short clip, which is going to maybe set the scene of who we're dealing with in terms of character. So if we bring this to the screen.
He must feel quite privileged that you see these two individuals on your screen. You must feel a sense of gratitude that you are blessed with the image of these two top tier
Tell them.
individuals.
Right.
Okay. If I were you, I would start doing tasbih with your hand. Start saying Subhanallah,
Rule.
Alhamdulillah,
Sawab.
Allahu Akbar.
Inshallah.
And when you say Alhamdulillah, and what you do is you think about me.
Oh, no.
No, not in that way. Not in that way. Look, when I say you think about me, I'm saying that you think Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, that Subhanallah, great thing. Alhamdulillah, that I'm blessed in the presence of this man. That Allah has given me the privilege of the ilm that is going to be disseminated from this individual.
So there you have it, bros. Any comments?
It's just disgusting from my perspective. Is that I can't stand looking at it. Can't stand watching it.
I mean, this is what they call the God complex. And when you hear the word God, this noun, used in any context, it's something that should perk up your ears and make you be concerned about what's in what context and what was being said. But for a Muslim, especially Muwahhid, we distinguish ourselves by singling out Allah for his exclusive right to be worshipped as God. And then for someone as a Muslim to fall into a God complex, I mean, this is absolutely insane. That's why, just before we bounce it back to the panel, I use this title, this play on this well-known phrase, in the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. So I said, in the kingdom of the child, the man-child is king. By child, we mean the ghawgha, the rabble, the juhala, ignorant people, the sufaha, the foolish ones. Amongst them, someone who will claim to be a man, a real man, because he thinks you ought to, look at him and submit and make takbir and tahmid and all this kind of stuff. Then this is how you kids, you incels, young children, adolescents, which is his fan base, according to their own published statistics, then this is the man they want to aspire to. But this isn't real manhood. This is disgusting. This is, what would happen, brothers, in an Islamic state if someone was to say things like this? Seriously.
It's not acceptable, of course. I mean, even if you're joking, you cannot joke about these things, right?
No.
Obviously, he's going to say he was joking, but that's not a joke any Muslim would make. I mean, it's not a joke any Muslim would make while they're thinking about what they're saying. So it's obvious that he's reached a level where he's not thinking about what he's saying. He's just speaking off the cuff.
We often empathize or put ourselves into someone else's shoes. So we could say, if we would give some extreme husn al-dhan, which I don't think benefit of doubt, which I don't think is permissible when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But let's say you say, look, in the middle of a stream, you're a bit excited, maybe it's a full moon, you've had too much energy drinks, and you make this silly statement. The reaction of the believer is to immediately say astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Even if you found it funny in a kind of morbid way, he says astaghfirullah. He didn't apologize. He didn't take it back. He kind of justified it. No, I mean, because of who I am and what I bring to the table. No, you can't say you think about God, you should be thinking about me. It's just absolutely nuts, basically.
Yeah, double down.
I want to actually kind of ask the brothers a question. When I watched this, I kind of had this feeling of, I'm so accustomed to this guy saying ridiculous things that I can't even there is no reaction. What am I supposed to say? Because like we used to see these clips of Mohammed Hijab in Speaker's Corner a couple of years ago, right? Maybe even like over 5 years ago. He started getting a bit crazy, and rarely we would see some kind of big thing from him. And when he ripped his shirt out, the guy, the clip, brothers. But now
Chinese embassy.
Yeah. But now it's every day, akhi. So I'm like, okay, so what do you want us to do? Okay, Khas, we've seen you do this. We've seen you do crazier things. We've seen you say crazier things. So I'm like, okay, so what now? Like, what's new with this with Mohammed Hijab? He's not a serious person.
I think this is exactly why Abdurrahman has chosen this topic, because this is the terrifying thing if this becomes the new normal, that they're just trying to push the boundaries more and more like other YouTube influencers, where their basis is YouTube fame, not dawah to Islam or not knowledge about Islam.
Yeah, exactly. But my point is he's not a serious person anymore. Like when you have this reaction to a person saying something that's ridiculous, like before when Mohammed Hijab used to do these stunts, people used to actually be shocked. Now I believe that there are a lot of people that are so used to him saying ridiculous things, and that's a sign that you're not a serious person anymore in the public sphere. That's my point. And I think as well, look at the reactions on the comment. The brothers can go to the comment and look at the replies on X. Obviously, people on X, they're not serious as well. But, before there used to be pushback, but now people are defending him, saying he's joking. And people they accept this. And this shows that the young audience, this appeals to them. I don't know, brothers, like how much you interact with, I think, the younger brothers. Maybe, I interact with the younger brothers a lot. The brothers in their around 18, 17, 16. From the awam and outside of that as well, from Tullab al-Ilm, the reality, ikhwa, that this kind of joking happens all the time. It's actually one of the biggest issues, I think, amongst the shabab, amongst the youth, is that they joke like this about religious issues all the time. And Mohammed Hijab is this character, and he makes Islam, he doesn't take Islam, in my belief, he doesn't take it seriously. When he talks about certain issues that are very serious, he does not take, he thinks it's a joke. And this is a big problem. I don't care about Mohammed Hijab. I think this is a testament, shows me what the youth are about now. Because there's no grown man, in my opinion, that's a serious person that's listening to Mohammed Hijab and saying, oh, this guy is, this is someone I should learn from or take knowledge from. It's not real, in my opinion.
It's funny you should say that, because he put out, in response to one criticism, someone complained about his akhlaq. He said, fair point, I will try and change my akhlaq, but to be honest, I wouldn't take knowledge from me either. And if you say this, why are you speaking about Aqidah? Why are you speaking about the ulama who you should take knowledge from? Even if you want to take everything from them, and we don't take everything from anyone apart from the Sahib al-Qabr in the Masjid al-Nabi, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Besides him, no one is taking carte blanche, if I pronounce that right, carte blanche, everything from them anyway. But if you're not someone to take knowledge from, why are you speaking about Islam aslan, right? Why are you claiming to give an Aqidah course, your own Aqidah course? It doesn't make sense.
But I think he said this before. Like there have been many instances where people have told him, your akhlaq and this, and people have, criticized him on this, and he gives the exact same card, right? So where's the accountability? You are the same person who keeps talking about having debates in Oxford and having, these kind of appearances that are very important for the Muslim Ummah generally. Brothers are looking at this and seeing your debates with, atheists or, racists or, these very important issues. So if you're not a student of knowledge and you wouldn't take knowledge from yourself, and no one should take knowledge from you, then why are you talking about these issues on these platforms? You should be sidelined and you should be put on the bench. That's how it should go. That's what makes sense, I think.
100%. Okay.
I think
so-
one of the ultimate issues with the Islamic Ummah, even in Arabic Dawa, although of course less so in Arabic Dawa, is where people are good at one thing, but yet they find themselves dealing with other things. So obviously Mohammed Hijab started off with his debate style, with his aggressive debate style against people who were very, very aggressive against Islam, and, you know, developed some skills there. But then when he goes into debating other Muslims or debating people who are not aggressive against Islam, or as we're seeing now, going into Aqeedah and history issues with the same kind of aggression, it comes off very, very ignorant and very, very negative.
Absolutely. So let's what say you, brothers? Let's get into it. Let's look at this this debate. There's 3 clips I want us to look at and to give some reaction to before we open the floor for the audience. So this is from the debate he had with a what's the word they use nowadays? Self-identifying Saudi nationalist. That we have to be clear. I haven't lived in Saudi for over 10 years myself. When we say Saudi nationalist, we don't mean nationalist in the sense of they put the nation state before the book and the sunnah, and that they take the nation as a god to worship besides Allah. That would be clear kufr, right? It's more a case of like an elevated level of patriotism, where they identify Islam as one of their national identity markers. And I'm not saying that's necessarily we ascribe to that, but this is how this doctor identifies himself, as many Saudis do, and it's not to be understood in as a Ba'athist, for example, the Arab nationalists who say that the Quran is lesser worth than their own atheistic constitution and so on and so forth. So I just want to put that in perspective. But anyway, we're not here to, if someone says something wrong, we're not here to defend them. All we care about is the truth that's affirmed by Allah and His Messenger, or rather we should say affirmed by Allah upon the lips of His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That being said, we are just, and if someone is being wronged and is being betrayed and lied against, and if that is done in the name of attacking Salafiyya, which we understand to be orthodoxy, book, Kitab and Sunnah, the legacy bequeathed to us by Allah's Messenger through the agency of His honorable companions, radiyallahu anhum, may Allah be pleased with all of them, then that's where we have to step in. So let's now play this video. I'm going to jump to 3 sections, inshallah, into each one, and then we'll give our discussion to it. So. Okay, so the first timestamp. By the way, this video has been taken down multiple times, and we'll get into the deception around that as well. So I'm going to go to the 49th minute.
You can say that. You can say that about every school of thought. Like, I don't know what you are trying to do here.
So the question, just to build it up, and we'll do a lot of like moving around until we get to the precise points. Of course, there's a lot of filler in between. But the basic question is that if Ibn Abdul Wahhab was alive today, so Mohammed Hijab is making the point to this Saudi brother, Dr. Hotha, then if you're honest, you would say he would make takfir of everyone, just like Mohammed Hijab claims he did in his day, including Saudi Arabia and all the states. So he said, be just, be honest. And this is the response that the doctor gave and the back and forth. And then we will give some commentary.
No, you cannot.
Can you connect yourself to Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, and the Prophet Muhammad? Do you believe that you are performing Islam like them?
No, of course not. They're the highest caliber.
Then in what right do you have on other people that the times and standards of the world might have changed, and you are actually using different standards, different time periods, and applying it to this time. I can't apply the same standards of the Prophet Muhammad, Umar, Uthman, Ali, Khalid bin Walid on you today, and you know
I
that,
really
right?
have lost myself in your argument.
And we can say that by every single
Can I ask you, why are you angry? Why are you angry?
I'm not angry. I'm not. I just
have I said something to disrupt you or disturb you or make you angry? Have I said something wrong to you?
No, I'm not angry at all. Why are you?
But your face is
angry?
red, and you just keep like getting worked up. Why? What's
I'm
going
red.
on?
I'm a red man. People say I'm a very red man.
Well, people say I'm a very black man, especially
But-
coming from the coming from.
Okay, so I'll start the proceedings with some discussion about this. So the point that the brother on the right was making is that, look, you can't take someone from the past, transport them to the present, and then pass judgments or religious, rulings based on what they did in the past now has to apply today. And he's making the point, bear in mind the video we just saw of Hijab's narcissism and his God complex. What if Abu Bakr and Umar and Ali and Khalid bin Walid and Uthman and the Prophet himself was to be around today? What would they say? And I made this point directly to Mohammed Hijab, by the way, which he kind of squirmed away from. You take anyone from the pre-modern period and you put them into the modern period, they'd think they've entered the era of Dajjal. We even have the narration of Aisha where she was complaining, if I'm right, it was Aisha, about the women going to the mosques and say, how could you forbid, what used to happen back in the day of the Prophet said, well, those times are not like our times. Or when the Umayyad Caliph, Abdul Malik bin Marwan, was asked, the people complained, say, why can't you be more like Abu Bakr and Umar in your reign? And the Khalifa, Abdul Malik bin Marwan, said, had I had the people, the subjects of Abu Bakr and Umar, then I would have treated you like they deserve to be treated. Meaning, we deal with the people we have. And, as I said to him at the time, you could take someone from the Salaf, put them into the reign of the Bani Umayyah, and they would be shocked and disgusted, mortified by what they saw of how far the Muslims had fallen. Take someone from the era of Bani Umayyah, put them in the era of Banu Abbas, and they would be mortified at the level of fitna and distance from religiosity and bidat and so on and so forth. Take someone from the era of Banu Abbas into the era of the Mamalik, from the Mamalik into the Ottomans, from the Ottomans into our time, and the level of perversion and pornography and treachery against the Palestinians and so on, so many points, and the spread of shirk. Everyone, you take the average Englishman and woman and say, what was it, an elderly person that is, say, what was it like in your day, 20, 30 years ago? Oh, it's not like it was in our day. Now the way the girls are dressing and the way the kids have no respect, everyone would be shocked, by what happens in the future, the technology and the perversion. And
we're shocked, and we're talking about the Dawa scene, which is even in contact with our era.
Yeah.
So just the generation after.
Yeah. So the doctor on the right made a valid point. Well, what if Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, the Sahaba, and the Prophet themselves were here today? You can't take Ibn Abdul Wahhab and say, well, if he was alive today, how would he react? First of all, this is from Ilm al-Ghaib anyway. How would react? The only person who saw the future, who was given signs of the future, were the Anbiya, and the Prophet ﷺ was given portents of what his nation would become of his nation. We can't speak of him, but generally we can say any pious person from the past, even from our grandparents' generation, even if they were non-Muslims, would be shocked by what they see today. So this is a bit of a silly point. And even then, it's not an Aqidah issue. It's not something we have to take a stance on either or, but this is how he tries to trap someone. And then look at what happened. As soon as the brother made this point, okay, what about the Sahaba? If they saw why you limited Ibn Abdul Wahhab and Saudi? What if the Sahaba came and saw things after their time? What did he turn to? He said, why are you going red? Why are you angry? And he wasn't going red and he wasn't angry. He immediately tried to turn it. And then he goes on to say, I can have a fight with anyone. I can fight anyone. I will beat anyone. And
before that, he said, they call me black as well.
Yeah. And he said this, I can fight all you Arabs. And the brother was shocked. He says, you sound like a sixth grader. I'm not going to play every single bit, but that's basically what he says. So yeah.
I think, can I make a point?
Sure.
I think it's very important. I want you guys to stay with me, right?
Sure.
Now, Mohammed Hijab, first of all, I think the brother, to be very fair, right? I'll be very honest. The example of the Prophet or the Sahaba is different than Muhammad Abdul Wahhab. And Muhammad Hijab, what's his point with this? Like, why is he mentioning Muhammad Abdul? Why is he mentioning this thing? You know why? Because he's trying to get the brother to say that all of the countries are dar kufr. Yes. Just so you guys are very clear on what's going on. What's going on is that he doesn't care about this. Like this argument that Muhammad Hijab is giving, this is what it is. He's basically saying, he's asking him, are the countries that call themselves Muslim dar kufr or not? Now, the problem with this type of games that Muhammad Hijab played, he learned this because this is how you debate. It's not how you have an honest conversation that is based on knowledge. If you want to go into that conversation, then you should have a conversation on dawabit dar kufr, meaning the conditions of a country going from Dar Islam, right, a country of land of Muslim to a land of disbelievers. This is another discussion. So to me, I find this very dishonest. What's the point of this discussion? If you want to have that discussion, then have it. Of course, Mohammed Hijab, he can't have it because he doesn't have any knowledge to have this discussion. And the other brother, with all due respect, I don't think he does either. So what are these games being played? Like, I don't know if your brothers like caught on to this.
That's it. That's a very good point, because he's speaking about the he's bringing that if you bring a scholar from the past to this era to do takfir, the question is, are you doing takfir, Mohammed Hijab? Are you doing takfir of all these Muslim countries?
Exactly. That's what I wanted to get to. Okay, let's leave the nonsense, right, and stop playing around, right, and beating around the bush. Do you, Mohammed Hijab, because you always talk about Khalij this and Khalij that and the foot of the Americans on this person's neck and that person's neck and that country's neck, طيب, do you do takfir of these countries or not? This is the discussion. Now, if you say no, we'll have a discussion. If you say yes, we'll have a discussion. But these are games, maybe honestly, these are games. So
just for the benefit of the audience, could you just expand a bit of why people are bringing this kind of narrative? Why did they try to make and not accept these majority, these Muslim countries, where these countries that high population of Muslims, they have Muslim leaders. We're not just talking about Saudi Arabia, these Muslim countries, many Muslim countries. Why are people doing that? Can you expand on that? Because the audience might not understand.
I mean, we don't want to go too much into the issues of.
I was gonna say, I think this should have its own podcast.
But if you can
just very quickly, right?
Very quickly, because
very quickly.
People understand what's behind it.
Yeah, very quickly, right? This is an issue that the scholars have been discussing pre-Muhammad Abdul Wahab. This is what I want to say. Because there is this narrative that, this issue of Dar Kufr and the difference, and like this is a new thing. No. This was being discussed pre-Shaykh al-Islam even. Pre-Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, this was being discussed. So this whole discussion, Muhammad Hijab is making it a Muhammad Abdul Wahab. He's making it a Najdi issue. Right. The issue of doing, taking a land from Kufr, like doing takfir of countries, he's making this a Najdi issue or a Najdi discussion. If you want to have a discussion about Muhammad Abdul Wahab's opinion and the Najdis generally of what's considered Dar Kufr, not Dar Kufr, then you should have that discussion. The scholars have been having it for hundreds of years. We're not scared to have it. You want to have it, let's have it. But this whole beating around the bush thing, I don't agree with it.
It's worse than that. It's not just, as we're going to see very shortly, it's not just a Najdi issue. He is constantly making about personalities rather than principles, rather than usul, because he himself is a personality. He's a social media personality. So everything in his world revolves around the persona of the influencer. And in this case, he wants to lower a scholar to his level, that it's either you're with him, and if you're with him, you're with him in everything. If you're against him, you're against him in everything. That's not the standard. That's not the metric by which the Sunni believer judges. We judge based on the principles that we extract from the book and the Sunnah.
I just want to mention this point, right? It's about muddying the water. What do I mean by this? So when a Muslim comes on X and he hears these quotes that Muhammad Hijab brings from books and Anwan Majd and all of these books, and other places from books of Tariq and other things, they're always going to ascribe, this issue of takfir of countries and Dar Kufr and Dar Harb and these these are the Najdi, the Najdis made this. This is the discussion, the Najdi, this is, and he knows it's not the Najdis. He knows. But when you ask the people that are listening, when they see this on their feed, they're like, this is a Najdi issue. Right. That's my problem with it. He's making it a Najdi issue, and he's hiding by omission. He's lying by omission.
Yeah,
we'll see this is a discussion a long time before Muhammad Abdul Wahab ever existed.
We'll shortly see some more of this. And by the way, for those who may not know, particularly, I guess it's less so in America, but certainly in the UK context, where the majority of Muslims still today are from a South Asian background, when you use the word Najdi, and amongst Turks as well, to be fair, it's tied in with heresy. This is how they've interpreted Najdi, is where the Qarn al-Shaytan, the horn of Satan appeared, where Musaylama Kadhab was, where the Dajjal will reappear, and so on and so forth. So he's deliberately playing upon that Sufi, Barelwi, Shi'i, dystopian image of Najdi Dawa, this evil thing that came. He didn't need to go there, because elsewhere, previously...
Even though he knows that is not true.
Even
though he knows that those those hadiths do not apply
Right.
to the Najd of Saudi Arabia,
Right.
even though he knows that those things are not factual. But yeah, he's trying to stoke that old flame. And I think I'd just like to say that what the doctor is trying to say is, and what Mohammed Hijab is trying to avoid, is to admit that each inzal al-hukm al-waqi', to take a general rule and apply it to a specific situation, takes a fatwa, takes an alim for that time, knowledgeable about the time, knowledgeable about the people. So, for example, in the time of the war between the Algerians and the French, there were scholars from Algeria that made takfir of anybody who held a French passport, right? And that was a legitimate hukm or legitimate fatwa in that time. But it doesn't mean we can continue that fatwa moving on in the future.
As well,
Right.
just to say this quickly, right? This is the issue of this Dar al-Kufr, and Dar al-Islam and all of these issues. First of all, ikhwa, there are positions on this. Like there are legitimate discussions in usul about this issue. And scholars differ at differing times. So basically, one scholar, he could hold an opinion. So on that basis, he will not. And on other basis, he will. And even the scholars that hold the same exact position on the issue, they might differ on a specific scenario at a specific time, based on specific knowledge that they have on either instances. So I think that why you imagine, ikhwa, this is a thing. Mohammed Hijab is like, he's asking it like as a, just as a sideline thing. This is a debate tactic. Because
it's definitely a debate.
To answer this question, because I give the benefit of doubt to the doctor, right? How am I supposed to answer this question? Like, you know what I mean? Do you want to go into that discussion of Dar Kufr and Dar? Like, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So he gave him what he could. Like, he gave him the answer that he thought was best at that.
As you see, this is pure. Sorry, go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, I mean, this is just one part of many points. And when you put all the points together, there's a clear Hizb ut-Tahrir kind of narrative being formed, as you know, which, influenced by Hizb ut-Tahrir. And it's very popular in the UK, where it's like, all these these Muslim lands are, in kufr. And, we need to have unity with the ummah, unity with everyone except the people that won't have unity with us. The Salafis, and that's what it is. You can't always see it just from the one point, but it's the whole narrative is there.
Yeah, and just to conclude on this clip, then I'll just say one thing in that this doesn't mean, for the benefit of the audience, that what was shirk at the time of Ibn Abdul Wahhab and kufr at his time, or at the time of Ibn Taymiyyah, or at the time of Imam Ahmed, or at the time of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam has changed. What was shirk then is shirk today. What was kufr then is kufr today. However, the fiqh of a ruling, or the wisdom of a ruling, it changes with a zaman wal makan.
The countries change.
The time and the place.
Change.
Yeah,
like
we can give one example.
The systems.
Yeah, we can give one clear example from the Quran. Why was Surah Ar-Rum revealed? It was revealed on the occasion of the defeat of the Romans by the Persians. The Romans, being Ahlul Kitab, the rulers of the people of Christendom, were defeated by the pagans of Persia, and the companions were saddened. Does this mean that they remain saddened when they themselves gave a victory, gave a defeat to the Romans at Yarmouk and all the other battles after that? Does that mean that they were constantly saddened by the defeat of the Romans when they handed the Romans a defeat? Of course not. Everything has its time and a place, and that doesn't mean that the base of Aqidah changes. So this is a tactic, and we're going to see it gets even worse. And as the brothers have all said, for the benefit of the audience, notice it's more about his debate. Brothers have all mentioned now this debate tactic. It's not about the principles, as Brother Qaisi said. We can talk about that separately. We can get into the depth of that discussion. We can go into that ocean. But this is just splashing in a muddy puddle. He's doing a Peppa Pig. He's jumping about in a muddy puddle, hoping some of that poo would splash on everyone. Without actually trying to understand the topic at hand.
Can I just say something before you carry on to the next clip?
Sure.
I think you got to, if you look at what Hijab's been doing the past few years, he's been very busy. He's been doing a PhD. He's been doing his MMA, boxing. And he's not been so active online as he used to be, if you notice. And then you've got these youngsters who have come up. There's a lot more famous TikTokers who are coming up. They're very active in Dawa, and you can see that he's trying to regain that kind of space online. And this is a new thing he's been doing. It's been running for a few weeks where he goes live and he's trying to, and not everyone can do it. You know, some people are very good at just going live and presenting. I don't think this is something he's actually good at, but it's been a total disaster since he's been doing it. I mean, I think it's been running for about 6 weeks now, and every single one he's had to delete and put private. But I feel that he's just doing it for the sake of doing it, and the controversy he thrives off it.
But then he uploads edited versions of it, though.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
It's just about popularity. I don't think there's any end goal or intention behind it, because it's just a mess.
I think it requires time. Like when he is very busy with the multitude of different things he wants to, do in his life, right? Be it debates or other, parts of, his career. If you want to do talab, you need to take this seriously. Like when you're talking about this issue of Dar Kufr, right? Have you, like, if I asked the Mohammed Abdul Wahab, Mohammed Hijab, if I asked him and I sat down with him about the resources he's read about this issue, it will be like embarrassing. Like, it's like this person, he doesn't have anything to provide. Like, and the thing is, it's like, how can you have anything to provide if you haven't even tried? I don't think he's tried. I don't think he sat down, tried to study, and then he's came to these conclusions. He's came to these conclusions because these are what he thinks is right. And he's been thinking this for how many years? These are not like, wallah, he made the research and, now he's learned on it. Let's go discuss it. Like, he's, how can I say it? He's discussing it. He's learning it on stream. You know what I mean?
Like,
in real time.
He's thinking about what he's seen. Not only that, he's parroting what he's seen in a short.
Right.
I seen him say something. Exactly. The next short was Yasser Qadhi saying the same thing in a short.
You know, a telltale sign that someone's, what John's just said about this plagiarism and what Qaisi said about learning in real time is that, and this has happened in this last few weeks, there's ample example of this. He'll sit in front of his audience and he'll say, you may be surprised to hear this, or some of you will be hearing this for the first time. And then he'll say something which everyone has heard of, anyone who studies and reads, that's well known. There's nothing surprising. What he's trying to say is, I just learned this. I just heard about this from watching a short or someone else, and now
it's like imagine taking a whole book, right? And not just like with the Mohammed Hijab, it's actually crazy. He's taking everything Najd has, like all of the scholars of Najd, right, during the time of Mohammed Abdul Wahab and after, and he's taking like small parts, and he's like, you've never ever heard this, brother. You know that there are people have spent their entire life doing books and studying the books of ulama Dawa Najdi. Do you not know this issue? Like, I'm genuinely talking to him. Do you not know that there are people online that have actually spent time studying this? Because now I'm starting to question your sanity. Like, why do you like this is a true, by the way, with what the brother mentioned. Every time he comes out and says, I doubt that anyone has heard this ever before. This would be shocking to people. When I listen to it, I'm like, no, this is not shocking, brother. Like, there are people who are 15, 16 who know these issues. They studied it. So I don't get, you don't even need to be doctorate level, or you don't need to be magister. If you've just read like Rasail of the Sheikh Mohammed Abdul Wahab, you know these things. So I don't know what is this like whole point, And the thing is, he's right. It will be shocking to a lot of people, and they will hear it for the first time because this is your audience. So of course they're going to be shocking. If these people, most of them don't even know Arabic, of course they're going to be shocking. You're going to bring a small text and you're going to translate it into English. And by the way, he's very bad at translating text. And then you're going to take it whatever direction you want to go. Of course, it's going to be shocking to people. This is easy. This is easy a job for you, and you can trick people easily in this way.
Yeah.
Before we move on to play the next clip, just want to let the people in the chat know that we're aware that questions are coming in. And by the way, to everyone, on behalf of the panel, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh wa maghfiratuh. We're very grateful for all of you being here and participating. It's just that we can't multitask. We can't pay attention to all of the questions and the comments while we're trying to engage with each other and present our presentation, as it were. But inshallah, as we go through 2 more clips, we maybe try to speed it up now to give yourselves a chance and your questions their worth and their time. We will reorient our focus towards yourselves. By the way, we have no moderators, so no one's deleting any comments. No one's touching anything. So I apologize if someone is being profane or out of order or abusive. They ought to behave themselves. We didn't ask for that. We wouldn't ordinarily tolerate that, but we just can't be doing two things at once. Maybe we'll take turns, inshallah, and start looking through the questions. But let's go now to the second clip, and there'll be one more after that, and then we'll go straight to the closing comments from the brothers and then we'll go to the Q&A.
Use hypocrisy and double standards, Zionist tactics, much what you have used today and in Twitter, right? Throwing a jab and then claiming crying, right?
Do you condemn Israel? Do you condemn Israel? You condemn
Absolutely.
Israel?
I
Why do
call
you
it
condemn
Israel.
them?
I condemn Israel 100 times.
Why do you condemn them?
Israel is the biggest enemy of the Muslim world.
So do you condemn the Abraham Accords?
Not only that.
Do you condemn the Abraham Accords?
It is the biggest enemy of Saudi Arabia.
You condemn the Abraham Accords?
This is not something that anybody would hide.
You condemn the Abraham Accords?
Why you would think I won't condemn Israel?
Do you condemn the Abraham Accords?
Do you condemn? Absolutely.
No. Do you condemn the Abraham Accords?
Absolutely.
So you condemn MBS? You condemn MBS then?
Absolutely not. Mohammed Hijab signed the Abraham Accords. Did Mohammed Hijab sign the Abraham Accords?
Okay.
Do you think he signed the Abraham Accords?
Okay, so you think you'd be wrong if you done the Abraham Accords?
No. Do you think?
Would he be wrong if he done the Abraham Accords?
No.
Would he be wrong if he done the Abraham Accords?
Do you think Saudi Arabia signed the Abraham Accords?
Would he be wrong if he done the Abraham Accords?
Do you think Saudi Arabia signed the Abraham Accords?
Would he be wrong if he done the Abraham Accords?
What?
Would he be wrong if he done the Abraham Accords?
Yeah, if he took the Abraham Accords without the right of the Palestinian people, then
no. Would he be wrong if he done the Abraham Accords right now?
Okay, I'll answer you. You answer my question first.
Would he be wrong if he let Saudi use the airspace?
I'll answer.
Would he be wrong about
that? It's a good
that?
question. I'll answer it.
Is he wrong?
But I want to just know one point here. Do you think Saudi Arabia signed the Abraham Accords?
No, I didn't say that. I said if he did it.
So you agree Saudi Arabia did not sign the Abraham Accords?
Would he be wrong if he did it? Would he be wrong? Would you condemn him if he did it?
No. We have to make something clear here. Wallahi, by God, I will answer you. Wallahi, I'm not running away. I will answer your question.
So there we saw an attempt at a gotcha. So he was asked, the Saudi doctor was asked, do you condemn the Abraham Accords? And he said, of course, I do, right? Do you condemn Israel? By the way, why did the doctor say this is Zionist tactics? This is Piers Morgan. Do you condemn? This is not from our Rasul that we test people like this. The question we as Muslims need to worry about is, who is your Lord? What is your religion? What do you say about this man, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? These are essentially the questions the questions from Munkar and Nakir in the grave. As for what's your position on this or that geopolitical issue or this or that individual or person from the personalities of Islam, past or present, doesn't mean anything. It doesn't affect our religion one way or another. We don't need to answer these questions. But this is a Zionist tactic. This is a Western gotcha, dirty gutter press tabloid tactic. Do you condemn? It's just trying to trap the brother. And then look at the deceit and the deception. When he said yes, of course, and then he said, so you condemn an MBS. And then he said, but has Saudi signed the Abraham Accords? Of course. And he's making the point, the doctor, saying that if it neglected the Palestinians, then yes, so you condemn MBS.
Then he goes to the hypothetical, if they signed it.
Yeah, if and he denied it. And then he goes, no, I said if, yeah. And it's hypothetical. It's such a
but guys, did you see what he said, that if it denies the right of the Palestinian brothers?
Yes. Yeah.
But so what does he mean? So that's not the Abraham Accords. Right. That's not the Abraham. That part is literally the Abraham Accords. That's the point.
That's the point.
That's the point. So it's like saying so the brother, I think he should have said yes with a caveat, but he kind of wanted to make a clarification, right? So maybe it doesn't get clipped in the future, if you know what I mean, if a different type of signing happens. But do you realize he's talking to himself? Like the whole
this is point. This is cowardice, because would Mohammed Hijab go? Why doesn't he go to? And because he says the reason, and he says this against the ulama now, not against this brother. He says against the ulama of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. He said the reason they're not in prison is because the feet of the Americans are upon their necks. That's why they're not in prison, unlike Ibn Taymiyyah, etc. Tayyib, ya batal. Why don't you go to Misr, go to your native country, and tell Sisi, open Rafah crossing? Right, like that brave Welshman, right? You must have seen that. I think he's a doctor or nurse. He was at the Rafah and he started crying. He said, non-Muslim, غير Muslim. He said, why are you allowing this genocide to go on? And he was crying in front of them. He said, if you want me to beg, I'll beg. And he got on his knees, started begging the Egyptian security forces to let him and the delegation or the relief convoy pass through.
Will Mohammed Hijab soldier has a choice, poor guy, but yeah.
Yeah. Would he do that? Okay, you claim
The
that
thing
this is.
is,
Go on.
he's bang out of order for asking these questions. Anyway, he did it. He did it to Adnan Rashid on Twitter as well. Not him. Hakikachu's been doing it to Adnan Rashid about UAE and stuff like that. But the same thing, as you said, how would he feel if we start asking him to condemn Egypt and CC about this and that and the other? This is not wisdom.
No.
You know, why would we? What's the wisdom in speaking out and getting yourself into trouble? For not everybody knows what's going on. We don't need to speak. There's no wisdom in that. You know,
where's the maslaha? Where's the maslaha? What does the Muslim individual or the ummah gain if he puts his family into trouble when there's no benefit? There has to be a cost-benefit analysis, right? If no one was doing it,
what these Hizb ut-Tahrir sorts don't understand is that our wala for the Muslim governments does not in any way put the king or the president or anybody in the government as some kind of on some kind of pedestal to be followed in their religion, as if they're an alim, as if they're a sahaba. None of that. We all love and respect our fathers, even though we know our fathers fell short in many things in deen and dunya. But it doesn't mean we're going to start spitting on their name whenever their name is mentioned. You know, this is a common misconception they have. They bring out the faults of the hukam, or even the shames, or the nasallahu afiyah. You can use stronger words, right? And say, oh, but what about this? Yeah, he has failures. He has shames. He has mistakes. He has many things. But once they're less than kufr, he deserves his respect and his wala and his obedience, as long as it's not a sin.
The thing is, we can always have these gotcha moments, even in England. You know, we know as Muslims, there's certain topics we can't openly discuss, really, because you're going to get yourself into unnecessary trouble. Your kids will get taken off you. You know, because you can say what you want. There's certain topics you can't, will never sound right in a Western secular environment.
Right, there's this Palestine. I'm not going to mention the name because you get arrested for mentioning the name. Let's call it a Palestine advocacy group. Everyone knows, right? Everyone at least in the UK knows about, right? It's two words, right? If you say I support this group, you get a visit, but not a visit. You get your door will get kicked through. Yeah. And you'll get arrested under certain terrorism laws.
Children, everything.
Will he do that now? Does that mean he's a coward for not doing that? Does he support Palestine? Subhanallah, you have kuffar in the
or does that mean he's a supporter of Keir Starmer?
Right. Or Netanyahu, for God's sake. There's non-Muslims in the octogenarians, 80-year-olds, including Jews themselves and atheists and Christians and from every stripe of society, have been willing to sit down with the name of this prescribed pro-Palestine group and get arrested. Has he done that? Will he dare do that? Or will he put his family in Egypt in jeopardy? So does this mean that he's a coward? We wouldn't say that, because where is the benefit for you as an individual? It's like if someone knows that there's some racist or some thug, right? You can maybe say, right, I'm going to take my vengeance on that thug because he's been bullying people. Okay, maybe you will get satisfaction from reacting violently to that thug, but at what cost? If you get arrested, you spend your life or most of your life in prison, and then your children get taken away and put into care and raised as non-Muslims, or worse, given to a pair of rapists, right? As what happened recently, and raised upon it. So you have to use your aql if you've got some. So that's what I wanted to say about that.
I think Mohammed Hijab has this kind of persona where it's like, he always checks people. Or are you a bad man? Type of thing. Or you're a bad man, then say this. Okay, then you say it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make a list. Okay, we're gonna make a list. You make a list, and we make a list. And since you're better than us and you're more courageous than us, you're gonna begin. Okay, so you're gonna first say what we have for you in stock, and let's see what happens to you. Okay, and when you're in jail, we're gonna see what's your reaction. Maybe you after reflecting on everything, you believe that this is a good decision. Your family is now without anyone to help them or provide for them, and you're stuck in jail for God knows how long. And do you think that that's a decision that's right for your family? Obviously you don't, because you haven't done it, but you want others to do it. So basically what he's trying to do, he's trying to imprison this brother, by the way. Just so you guys know that he's trying to imprison the brother on the right. He's done this a lot, by the way, as you guys have mentioned. He's just trying to get him into trouble so he can win. He's gonna laugh at him, by the way. He's gonna put him into, or cause him to go into jail, and then he's gonna laugh at him. And he's his Muslim brother. This is his Muslim brother. They they believe in the same God, and he's playing these type of games. So I don't get it. Like, what's the gain except prison? That's it. Like, for him.
Just before you carry on, just to let the audience know, because a lot more people are coming in now. The man who's been interviewed, he's not claiming to be a sheikh or a da'i or anything like that. It is, as you mentioned at the beginning, Abdurrahman. Just wanted to let people know that.
Sure.
Because a lot of people are coming in now to the stream.
And bear in mind, in case someone mentions there's a clip of him saying "F this" and I'm going to do this to Palestinian women, he claims, the doctor throughout the stream claimed that this wasn't him, it was AI. It's not his profile pic. It's not his actual account pic. It's not his voice if you listen to it. So we have to take him at his word. And he even challenged Hijab on live, saying, if you say this is me, click on it, click on that account, you'll see it's not mine. Hijab refused. And then in the bit that he did post, Hijab, it was a hatchet job. He pasted the 30-minute clip or segment after he was saying, this is not me, what are you talking about? And he said, this is disgusting language, I wouldn't speak like that. So we have to take him at his word. Unless
it doesn't sound like him, by the way.
It doesn't sound like him.
It doesn't personally.
And even if it was him, we reject that from him anyway, as we reject with any man.
But, AI can be like literally identical, like almost that was a bad job. If that was an AI job,
he didn't say anything. Hijab himself hasn't said.
Yeah. By the way, Hijab, by the way, has got remember him and his partner in crime, the Premat merchant, a guy, Premat merchant. They have a history of fabricating AI. I tried, by the way, AI myself. I tried to AI my own voice. It came out terrible. I sounded like it went all, because my accent is very regional, and maybe the AI repository didn't have enough, so I became American when I tried to AI my own voice. I thought it'd save time in YouTube videos if I just give a script and let AI read it, and I couldn't do it. So it's not always, as good as it can be. And I don't think this AI, what it seems to me anyway, misrepresentation of Dr. Hotha was a very good one. But anyway, we'll put that aside. Now let's go to the final clip. And this clip's quite long, and so I might, bear with me as I can.
You guys see the comment on the screen?
No,
these people are not serious.
Oh, yeah. We'll have to get to them, I guess. So so this is a long clip, 10 minutes, but I'm gonna try to shift through it, skim through it, because there's a lot of clangers in here. Okay, here we go. Let's go.
You answered none of my questions, though.
Let me ask a question. Just one question, right? If I say that Ibn Abdul Wahhab, he is just a da'i, كسائر الدعاة, there's nothing special about him. He's da'i فقط. What do you think of this statement?
My opinion, or the opinion my personal opinion?
Yeah, it's just a da'i.
I see Mohammed Abdul Wahhab as a mujaddid. I see Mohammed Abdul Wahhab.
So if someone just says he's a da'i, what would you say about that? I'm saying it's just a da'i. What would you say about that?
I'm trying to answer your question.
No, but if I say he's just a da'i, what would you say about
that? Okay, I'll answer it. So don't interrupt. Again, if you say he's just a da'i, I would say this is your opinion. For me, he is a mujaddid and a guardian of Tawheed. When Tawheed, in the main empire of the Muslim world, which was the Ottoman Empire, was under very much
invalid opinion.
When they are building shrines in the graves of people, I don't think you think this is a good thing, right? Do you think building shrines over graves is acceptable?
I don't think it's a good thing. But here's what I would ask you. Let me ask you this.
Okay, good. Can I continue answering your question, please? I'm going to tell you why I think he's not just a da'i and he's a mujaddid. Can I answer your question?
Hawza, please.
You're not letting me answer your question. You're not answering my questions. What are you doing?
Yeah, Hawza. Give me a.
All I'm asking you is to let me answer your question.
Let me answer your question. No, hold on.
Okay, so saying he's a da'i is not enough for me.
Let it be a dialogue. Let it be a dialogue, Hawza.
Because me and you can agree. No, wait.
We don't want to end this early, do we? We don't want to end this. You keep cutting me off.
Building shrines.
You keep cutting me off.
Dude, I'm answering your question. You're not letting me answer. It's very simple. Let me answer. Just give me
No problem. But if
there's no point in answering your question. You're being very.
I'm not really interrupting that much. I think you're interrupting more than I am.
For interruptions.
I'm not really interrupting.
Because you interrupt. Because you interrupt. Don't let anybody talk.
Let's see what he does.
Go ahead.
This Sorry,
Go
just
ahead.
let's
Okay,
please,
if I say that he's a da'i كسائر الدعاة, he's a da'i فقط, is my قول is it حق وباطل?
Are you done?
Yeah, it's my question. Yeah.
I wouldn't have an opinion whether it's haqq or batil. I would say you are wrong, because for
So
me he's
is it
not only a
batil then?
da'iyah.
So it must be invalid. If I'm wrong, it must be invalid.
So you can't frame this. You can't frame this the way you want it. Okay. What you can do is you can ask a question about my opinion. Is it haqq or batil? And then you can listen to the answer. You cannot
So
like
is
the
it
answer. You don't have
صحيح
to
or
like the
غير
answer.
صحيح?
Hijab. You cannot like the answer. That's your right. But you can't interrupt
Is
me
it
while
صحيح
I'm
or غير
talking.
صحيح? Is it
Okay,
صحيح
are
or
you
غير
done?
صحيح?
I'm trying to
Is
answer.
it valid or
Are you
invalid?
done? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you done? Thank you. Again, for me, it is invalid to say he's only a da'i. For me, I would consider him a
batil.
mujaddid. Go ahead. When you're finished, let me know.
So is لا يصح is invalid? Yeah, it's batil.
Are you done? Are you done?
You correct? Is this what your view is?
No, I'm trying to talk. I really have no ability to talk. I think you
Yeah.
you don't want me to talk. You don't want the Saudi Najdi person. If you can agree it was shirk, and Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab was one of the biggest reasons why that was taken away.
So is that batil?
This definitely not like the other du'ats. Absolutely.
Is it batil or not?
Absolutely. Well, for me, the way I
Yeah.
see it, I see that he has done more than just being a da'iyah.
So you see it
has
as a
done
batil,
something
right?
I don't have an opinion whether it's haqq or batil. I'm just saying my opinion.
What do you
that
mean?
For
You
me,
said
for me
you said
personally, for me.
You said it's invalid. So how could it be invalid and haqq at the same time?
No. I'm saying that in my view, you asked me, is he a da'wah guy? Is he a preacher? Is he a preacher like the other preachers, right? I said, for me, he's not only a preacher, he protected monotheism by not allowing shirkiyat or the building of shrines over graves and grave.
No problem. So is that called batil? Is that called batil?
Absolutely. I think that is the case.
It's batil.
It's
batil.
No. I'm not answering your question. My answer to
Is
the
it
question
batil? Is it falsehood or not?
What is falsehood? What is falsehood?
Is this statement that he's da'i كسائر الداعي? I'm saying that he's just a normal da'i, like any other da'i. You're saying is
He's
this
a normal
batil?
human being. He's just a human.
No, I'm not saying he's a normal human being. I'm saying he's just a normal da'i. That's what I'm saying. Is that true or false? It can either be true or false. There can't be a third option.
Of course, he's a da'iyah, but me myself.
No, he's just like all the other ones. He's just like all the other ones.
No, all of them are different from each other.
No. So is it a true statement or a false statement?
Absolutely no sense.
Is this a true statement? Is this haqq or
no? Every
Habibi,
preacher.
is this haqq or batil? It can't be either.
This
Is
is
it
why
haqq or
I have to
batil?
raise my voice. This is why I have to raise my
Is
voice.
it haqq or batil?
You want it to be an interrogation. I don't want
Is it true or false?
I actually want to give my opinion. You're
Is
not
it true
allowing
or
me to answer.
false?
Okay, you're not allowing me to answer your question.
Is it true or
and
false?
By the way, you have to have adab and ihtiram. These are
خلاص الشيخ محمد بن عبد الوهاب is a da'i كسائر الدعاة. Is it haqq or batil?
No, batil. فضيلة
Batil.
الشيخ محمد
Okay,
بن عبد
MBS
الوهاب.
said that.
Okay.
MBS said
let me
that.
continue.
So he
It's
spoke
okay,
batil,
okay.
yeah?
Can I
MBS said
continue?
this.
Oh my God.
Those were
What is
MBS's
this
words, not my
phrase?
words. Those are MBS's words.
Okay, good. Thank you.
That's
All right,
MBS
thank
said that. So
all right,
so
good,
MBS
good.
spoke
I gotcha.
batil, did he?
Gotcha.
So MBS
gotcha.
spoke batil.
Thank you.
So MBS is speaking
Yeah,
batil.
he answered it in a certain context. Good. Oh, okay.
So MBS spoke batil,
He
yeah?
said it in an interview. So
MBS spoke
when he
batil.
was saying that he is a human.
بينهم أربابا من دون الله. Bro, you're making a man make halal and haram for you, brother.
In the UK, have made you have Zionist mannerisms and mannerisms.
Oh, whatever, man, akhi. This is it. This is what. Yes, sir.
You call me?
You can't speak your mind like me, brother.
No. Okay.
Is
Do you want
Sorry,
So-
bear with me.
Gotcha.
guys.
Contact-
Almost done. Bear with me. Almost done, brothers. Almost done. I just want to get the please play with me. I know it's hard.
You can't speak your mind like me,
no.
Okay,
brother.
he called him a slave, so I'm going to miss that bit. I'm going to go straight to the last
questions
bit.
of kuffar? Hijab. Why are you
So
running away
that's
from the
it.
question?
So
Why
okay,
are you running away from the question?
it was
I
batil,
have
but then when
I answered
MBS
your
said
question.
it, so
Why
me
are
and
you running
MBS
away
we
from mine?
agree. You're
Let me ask you a
khariji,
question.
brother.
Let me ask you a
You're doing
question.
khuruj al-hakim.
Do you think?
You're doing khuruj al-hakim, bro.
Do you
How,
think-
how dare you speak about MBS in that manner?
Do you think?
How dare you speak about MBS in that way? How dare you? I defend him. I defend the Wali al-Ahd. I'm the one defending the Wali al-Ahd. Huh? I'm defending Wali al-Ahd. How dare you speak about MBS in that manner, brother?
How much?
Khuruj al-hakim al-Muslim?
You gotta stop it 1 minute.
Are
brother.
you doing khuruj?
Please, 1 minute.
How
1 minute.
dare you speak
Are you
about
done with your
MBS in
motion?
that
I'm not
manner?
leaving. I'm not leaving, by the way. I'm not leaving. So my question to you: Do you think that you are affected by British people in the way?
Say that he agrees with me more than you. MBS
Are you
agrees with me more than you. You disagree
answer
with
my
me and
question?
MBS, or you agree with me and MBS?
He doesn't.
Do you disagree with me and
No, I
MBS,
absolutely
or do you agree with me and
and what I
MBS?
said stands. Both of them
Do you
are true.
disagree with
Both
me
of
and
them are
MBS,
true.
or do you agree with me and
What I said
MBS?
stands, and absolutely I
Fadlan.
agree with MBS. Both of them are true. It's not a gotcha moment.
Oh, you agree with me and
It's
MBS
not a
now,
gotcha
do
moment.
you?
Let me ask you a question. Do you think, when you're ready, I would like to.
That's it, brother. I'm sorry, brother John. I know you were jumping at the bit. I know I had to put you through. I wanted to show he spent 10 minutes, 10 whole freaking minutes trying to make him say MBS said batil. I'm sorry I had to put you through that, but let me start the conversation and then I'll hand it over to you guys. So
This is
really,
this is very, very nasty.
it's
very dirty,
it's nasty.
filthy.
Okay,
The thing is, look, it's one thing in speaking and people get, you know, he's trying to get him in trouble. This is a trap.
Yeah. It's what we said at the beginning, didn't we? Which is why I said this will come more. These are dirty debate tactics. This is not about ikhlas. It's not about sincerity. Because the statement, Ibn Abdul Wahhab, adaya kasair ad-dawat, which means that Ibn Abdul Wahhab is a call to Islam like all the other calls to Islam. This is true and it's false depending on the context. Like we can say this podcast is a podcast like every other podcast. But we can also say this podcast, this one we're all participating in, is unique, unlike any other podcast. Okay, why is it a podcast like any other podcast? Because it's live, it's been streamed, it's got participants, and everything that a podcast has. But it's also unique because we're the only ones doing this right now on this channel with this audience on this topic, right? So Ibn Abdul Wahhab was, as the brother was trying to say, I don't think he's just a da'i in the context, because he's a mujaddid. He revived Tawheed, he got rid of shirk in a way that other du'at might not have. That's not to diminish other du'at, but in the context, whichever context, we don't know, the MBS said it, then maybe he's just like any other da'i that he's calling to Islam. And I believe the context was that we're not beholden to any one man. I mean, I'm speculating entirely, so maybe I shouldn't even go there. But whatever the doctor was saying, he's aware of the context. I'm not, right? But he's saying, look, in his context it's true. In our context it's true. This is not an issue of haqq and batil. If, as the brother said for 10 minutes, he was trying to say, it's my opinion. It's not haqq and batil issue. Yeah. It's like if I say, excuse me, brother, I know I've taken the hog in the mic, but I'll finish here. It's like if I say the seasoned fries from Taco Bell are better than the seasoned fries of KFC. Is this haqq or batil? Yani this is playing with the deen to ask this stupid question. It's an opinion. It means nothing. On Yawm al-Qiyamah, we won't be held accountable for it. As the brother said, it's just my opinion. You cannot, as he said, you cannot frame this the way you want to frame it. It's my opinion. That doesn't mean that it's, and as soon as he got his gotcha, it took him 10 minutes. He was tenacious. Mohammed Hijab, give him that. It took him 10 minutes, and then he got his gotcha, and then you saw he screamed like a monkey. Aha! I got now you're with, and then look how he mocked the deen, the usul of Ahl Sunnah, the khuruj, the Khawarij, the Prophet. Well, how evil did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam tell us about the Khawarij, the first to break away from the Ummah, murdered some of the best awliya of Allah from Ali bin Abi Talib and other than them, and will be with us until Yawm al-Qiyamah, fighting against the Muslims, the thorn against the Muslims. And look how he mocked them. He said, you're against Wali al-Amr, this khuruj. That's all I wanted to say about that. And that's why he said this is Zionism. And
this is a lot of people living in the West who have never lived in Muslim countries. I'm not just talking about the Gulf. I'm talking about Pakistan, Egypt, all over these Muslim countries all over the world, right? And not only Muslim countries, non-Muslim countries around the world, America, all over, that you can't always say everything, right? And the fact that he's trapping him like this is filthy. We all know what you can and can't say. And the thing with this is, the irony is the example he likes to give to show that Ibn Taymiyyah is not like Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, is that Ibn Taymiyyah protected his, the one he was debating against. Yeah. You remember the story where he takes him and
Bakri,
and that's the example he always brings. And this is the totally opposite of what Ibn Taymiyyah. It's like, what you're trying to do, you're trying to get people in trouble. It's an opinion at the end of the day. Anyone who is sincere can see that it was just an opinion. It's your opinion. We don't see Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab as a prophet. Right. But just because in Muhammad Hijab's eyes, because he's not a philosopher and he's not spoke philosophy and he's only quoting Quran and Sunnah, he's not mujaddid. SubhanAllah, it's crazy. crazy. I mean, you know, you have to respect the work of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, whether you take him as a mujaddid of his time or not. The work and the influence that he had was phenomenal, even on our era. Subhanallah. Do you think,
brothers,
any of Muhammad Hijab's works or videos will be around 20 years after his death?
But the issue of Ibn Abdul Wahhab aside, but just look at, I want to draw attention just to the tactic. Making this an issue of haqq and batil means truth and falsehood. This is something that Allah teaches us. What is true with Allah? What is batil with Allah? He asked the question, well, in my opinion, he's not just a regular. And he waited 10 minutes to get him to make a statement, which isn't really an issue of haqq and batil, it's an opinion. And then he pounces on him. And both things can be true simultaneously, as we mentioned. But yeah, the brothers.
I want to mention something very important.
Sure,
let's say Mohammed Hijab was a serious individual. Right? Not talib ilm, he was a serious individual. He talked to this brother and he wanted to get him on the MBS thing. طيب, then Muhammad Hijab tells him, okay, but MBS said this. طيب, so now if we are logical individuals, we're going to go back to the video because the brother claims there's context to it.
Yeah.
So now we should go back to the context, right? We should go back to the original source and then we should listen to the reporter, the question, and then later, of course, when Muhammad Salman answers, and let's listen to the context. Am I wrong? Am I crazy? Is this
that's
like
just
logical thing?
No, that's just, brother. Why would you be so just?
Yeah. So I'm just thinking logically. طيب. So you are claiming, let's say Muhammad Hijab, he's gonna get him on the gotcha. If he was really like that in terms of his intelligence, and he's gonna look past what this guy is obviously going to say, which is context, right? He should have translated the original podcast. He should have brought him the clip. I mean the interview. He should brought him the clip. And then he should have showed him the clip, and then after that they could have had a discussion on it, and he could have had his gotcha. But he didn't do that. Obviously,
this goes back to the misunderstanding of the position of the rulers in the Salafi Aqidah. Is that their position is respected and obeyed? It doesn't mean that they're any kind of qudwa, any kind of goal to be followed in religion. Right. That's nothing to do with it. If any of the rulers have said something that goes against Islam, then we ignore it, obviously.
No, but the lazim of what Muhammad, I'm sorry, Akhi, but the lazim of what he's saying, what does it mean what he's doing? It means that if Muhammad Hijab, right, he was in Saudi, he would say it. Mm-hmm. And another thing, just be very clear. Don't you brothers, like for years now, Muhammad Hijab always flexes this whole Western, this is a Western thing, right? Which is I can say whatever I want, you can't. But just you're a Muslim, right? But Muhammad Hijab, he claims to be Muslim, and throughout Muslim history, has this ever been the case? Like, never. Has a Muslim like let's not talk about Muhammad Abdul Wahhab because to him you don't consider him a scholar even because he does taqiyyan that on Muhammad Abdul Wahhab thing. But let's go back to the Prophet's time. Let's go back to the Khulafa. Were you allowed to do this? And let's forget MBS. You don't like him. He's whatever you think about him. Right. That's what you think about him. Let's go back to these times. Would you do it?
You mean speaking without responsibility?
Would you do it, and would you do it?
Making accusations without proof?
No, saying bad stuff. Would you do it, and could you do it? And more important than would you do it? Could you do it?
No, you know why? Because
could you or not?
Why? Because they were not liberal Western democracies. The very thing he attacks, or that he claims to have expertise on in debating feminism, liberalism, and Western democracy, that is what is giving you this right to oppose the usul of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah and to attack the ulama, because you get this freedom.
No reference.
It's hukum al-taghut is giving you this freedom to speak your mind, which you couldn't do. And even then, put aside the actual issue, you only did this for a cheap gotcha. I mean, how pathetic and as the brother said, are you in 5th grade? You're speaking like a 5th grader now, or 6th grade, whatever. 6th grade, I think he said. I mean, what's wrong with the person's point?
Like, listen, Muhammad Hijab is always going to do his gotchas.
Yeah.
But let them be sophisticated. This is my point. Let's see something from you. Let's see actually some, like, you're not trying. You've been doing the exact same thing for how many years? It's getting boring. And you see the brothers, wallahi, I wanted to like remove my headphones and just kind of go for a couple of minutes and come back. It's because we've heard this stuff from Muhammad Hijab a million times. It's not even like interesting anymore. Like, what's the next stupid thing he's going to say? Be sophisticated. Bring the clip, translate the interview, and then say, "Oh, look what he says," and you claim it's context. But where's the context? But there's no sophistication behind it. You are just trying to play at the game, and you're talking to yourself and to your audience. it's يعني أخي, he's not serious. I keep saying this, but he's really not serious about it. He's not serious about getting us. You know, I really tell if Mohammed Hijab hears this, brother, be better at be better at attacking us. If you're going to attack us, we need to see a higher level of quality from you. This is really embarrassing, honestly. This is like bare minimum. You're not even trying.
SubhanAllah. We've went actually over our 1 hour 10 minutes, which is a good thing. Alhamdulillah, it's always good to be busier than inactive. So before we go to the questions, I want to read out maybe three tweets that other brothers have mentioned. Just tweets. X. I keep forgetting now it's no longer Twitter, but we still call them tweets. So this one is from Brother Ra'id. He says, Mo Bikini purposefully provoked nationalists into attacking him in order to play the victim and cry about racism. We didn't even get into the racism issue, but this is something he does a lot. He's race baiting against whites, pretending to be as if he's a BLMer, and now against Najdis and so on. Anyway, due to his failure to challenge the Salafi Dawa on an academic or intellectual level, he kept ignoring many of the criticism and refutations made against him by respectful Salafis and students of knowledge from different backgrounds. Yet he continued responding to nationalists in order to steer the conversation in that direction. He would receive the same reaction, or even stronger one, if he linked other religious sects to nationalism. For example, by referring to Barelwis as Pakis, Rafida as Persians, Maturidi Sufis as Turks, and continued provoking their nationalists. Pakistani, Persian, and Turkish supremacists would attack and racially abuse him, even if they were not Barelwis, Rafida, or Sufis themselves. Mo Bikini manipulates his audience in a similar manner to how he manipulated a woman into becoming a hotel prostitute for him.
Okay.
I'll read a couple more.
That was good. That was good.
No, it was good, wasn't it?
It was intelligent, mashallah.
One more, bear with me. As
I don't think it was AI as well, because
that definitely wasn't AI. Here's another one from Brother Ibn Hibban. He says, you built a false premise, got refuted with Ibn Abdul Wahab's own words, and your response is to call everyone racist. That's what desperation looks like. Ash-Shawkani is literally on our reading lists. You just claimed on our scholar, our own scholar, refuted us. That's not a gotcha. That's embarrassing. Sulaiman ibn Abdul Wahab, that's a brother of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab, had specific disagreements on applications of takfir, not a rejection of the whole da'wah. Scholars disagreeing internally does not invalidate a methodology. Otherwise, your entire Ashari tradition collapses too. The brother's comments tell us everything. You ran out of argument, so you switched to guilt by association and race baiting. You came with a final challenge, got your premise destroyed, and responded with vibes and insinuation. And one more, and then, as I said, we'll go straight to Q&A. Image file. It's always tech we have to get to grips with. This one's from Dr. Talha Abdul Razak. He says, accusing others of being regulars at the brothels of London, which is what he said about Najdis, while having Muslims come forward testifying about hijab, having secret marriages out of hotel rooms, then intimidating imams into silence. The hippopotamus of the Nile rolls in yet more mud and excrement. Of course, that's quite harsh, but he's just speaking to the double standards here. You know, you can't bait people. Someone in glass houses shouldn't be throwing stones. If you want to sink to that level, fine. You want to go into the zoo, you're going to get covered in feces. But if you want to stay academic, you want to keep it knowledge-based upon the truth and the proofs of the book and the sunnah, then take it there. But because he couldn't take it there, he went into the gutter.
Actually, like this kind of narrative of, there's this intellectual, big group of people who are Arab supremacists. Does this actually exist? Like, have you been, like, I don't think this is real. Like, I don't, I want to hear the brothers' opinions just from personal experience, but this is not a real thing. People who interact with Saudis or, people in the Khalij, of course, there are people who have, racism. But first of all, by the way, these are tendencies that are found all across, not just in Arab countries or in Khalij. It's found across all nations, all people. And I don't think it's as he, makes it out to be as a big problem. It's not a big problem. Yeah, I don't think this is realistic at all. I don't think this is real life, that people are just racist all over, and all the Khalij, the people in Khalij.
I don't know. I had a friend here from Jordan, for example, and he was complaining about how terrible the Saudis are and how racist they are and this kind of thing. So I said, "What's the matter? Tell me your experiences. What has somebody done to you?" And he said, "No, nobody's done anything to me." I said, "So why are you saying these things?" He said, "Oh, do you not read what they say on Twitter?" I said, "Delete the app, man." You know, like the same as Mohammed Hijab, he's talking about all this racism that came to him. Alas, that came to him by people tweeting. It's not something you experience in real life. I don't know who's tweeting, where they're tweeting from, under what pseudonames or Allahu Alam. But anyway, we reject it wherever it comes from.
Even when it's present, it's back and forth. I don't think people like to talk about this. But just like there's this kind of narrative about people in Khalij, right? And like they're stuck up and they're arrogant. Well, the same thing like applies on the opposite in terms of like they both have these.
It does, yeah.
Spats. So I don't get it. Like the Khalijis can make the same exact. In fact, actually, they can say a lot more when it comes to Sham, when it comes to Levant region. If people have went to the Levant region, brother, I can say a lot of things, right? I can speak about it and not stop. Plus the things about Khalij as well. But the point is that it's on both sides. But why are you mentioning one side and the other you don't mention? Like that's my point. Well, why is it this like harping on Khalij? Why? You're from Egypt. Why don't you talk about the perils in Egypt? You want me to talk about the perils in Egypt and the problems you guys have in Egypt? This doesn't make any sense. I don't get this.
There's another thing I wanted to mention as well. I said this to Yasser Qadhi as well, because why the attack on all the Salafis? I mean, okay, let's just say, just for argument's sake, that what you say about Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab is correct, right? Do you agree? And I said this to Yasser Qadhi, I said, do you agree that, and I said it to Mohammed Hijab as well in London, I said, do you agree that the majority, over 99%, I would say, of Salafis don't interpret his work like that? So what's your problem with Salafis? Like, why no unity with Salafis? Why is it unity with everyone except Salafis? Why have you declared war on Salafis? Why do you have a whole YouTube channel attacking Salafis? If you admit they don't interpret his work like that anyway. It's just it's not even about Muhammad ibn Wahhab. It's about the Aqidah. That's what it's about ultimately. They've got a problem with the correct Aqidah.
Yep. And as we can see, I'm putting some of the comments up. By the way, on this issue of he's ill because in the past he said he's on meds or he's insane. I don't buy any of this. I believe it's an act to get out. It's a get out of jail card. He consciously attacks Salafiyya. He constantly plays games, and of course, it's a separate podcast in terms of the validity or the justification of Salafiyya as an ethno. No, wouldn't be an ethnonym, but as an ethos, and why it's just a synonym. What I was looking for the book, following the book and Sunnah for Sunniism. That's a whole separate podcast, but this is just a way to get out of being blamed for attacking it. Actually, before or while we're pasting some of the comments, I wanted to look at the level of dishonesty. Now, Mohammed Hijab put this up in Arabic. This is X automatically translates into English. But halfway down, he says that basically he says that he himself did not show integrity. Mohammed Hijab is admitting. Sorry, I need to get rid of this comment. How do you do that? Okay, I don't know how to get rid of that. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So he basically said that he took mercy. He took mercy on Dr. Hutha, and that's why he didn't put up the stream. The reality is that, and we've got the screenshots, he kept on blocking the stream. Dr. Hutha put up the stream repeatedly, the full stream, and Mohammed Hijab only put up a hatched last 30-minute segment, a hatchet job. And he's claiming, I'll leave it on screen for anyone wants to read it. That's part one, and there's part two. He's claiming that he didn't put it up because he didn't want the brother to get in trouble. How can you claim you don't want to get the brother in trouble when you're the one who tried to bait him to say something that might get him in trouble? And how can you claim that out of mercy you didn't put up the stream to protect the brother when the brother himself uploaded the stream and you copyright struck him not once, not twice, but thrice? So this is just dishonesty. It's extreme.
Akhi, it's for his own good, Akhi. Don't you get it?
Yeah.
It's for his own good. It's the brother has compassion for him. It's empathy, all of it.
Something
Subhanallah,
happened
you know,
with,
it's-
I think you mentioned at the beginning with the Arabic. He took down as well the baits from the poem or something. He's been, how can you say, canceling.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about it,
self-regulating,
but he
right?
removed it. He
Yeah.
removed
Well,
it, and
did you
he
see the
keeps doing
lineage?
this.
Did you see the lineage post?
Yeah, of course we did.
So yeah, where
The
he claimed
brother
that-
found out that the isnad that he has believed in, that goes back to the Prophet all of this time, is actually, in fact, incorrect. So he just found that out. How old is he? I don't know how old is he, how old he is, but that's embarrassing. Imagine if this is actually real, like this whole thing is real.
Not only
you don't know your,
incorrect,
you don't know your
the
Isnam.
spiritual Sufi lineage, not
Yeah.
a bloodline.
No, but actually he just found out. Like he found out from the internet. Like, do you
Yeah.
get how ridiculous? Like, so you've been believing that this is what it is for all of these years, and you talk to your family in Masr, and all of in Misr, and all of these things. But no, some random guy on X found out that it's actually incorrect, and he brought it from the book, and you just embarrass yourself in front of how many people? Tens of thousands of people that don't know your own lineage. When you're making the claim, right? You're making the claim, and you went out and you've been saying this, and then he gives a post, or he quotes a post that he had for his genetic test, I think, that he says, oh, it's 70% compatible with the region or whatever, which by the way means nothing to what what he's making in terms of the claim. So I don't know, this guy is ridiculous.
I want to answer this one because it's direct. It's a smear, I guess. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam. How can you effectively counter hijab's tactics if you personally affirm the legitimacy of the term madkhali, or that testing people's scholars is an innovation? First of all, when I use the word madkhali, like Wahhabi, it's in a purely academic setting. It's not a value judgment, and I explained this in the 5th episode on Daniel Haqiqatjou, the refutation I did of him, or response to his smear campaign, saying that, look, we're not attacking not even the scholar or the tribe. We're just using it because in academia it's its own legitimate category. And there you'll see a clip of an analyst from the CIA using the term madkhali. So they use it, we have to use it, right? Like Islamist, we didn't invent this term, it's from academia. Like so we respond in kind. Like Salafism, I don't like any ism, frankly speaking. It just means, true Sunni orthodoxy. But because it's English language and this is the standard that an ism is attached to help, describe a thing with a noun, then that's what it is. So it's not a value judgment I'm making. As for testing people's scholars, I'm talking about the innovation that Sheikh Abdul Mohsin Al-Abad spoke about, the innovation of testing people in his book Rifqun Ahl Sunnah, or his follow book Al-Hath ala Ittiba' Sunnah, or Tahdhir min al-Bid'ah, or whatever the full title was. But I discussed this elsewhere, so this is not the place to go into that now. Are we keeping going through?
Hey, can I answer the testing people thing?
Sure.
We might disagree on this just a bit, right? But there is a very important point when people use this testing the scholars, even when people quote from the books of the Salaf about how certain people from the Salaf, they test people with names. First of all, it's very important. It's not about the name in and of itself. Like this person is, it's about the beliefs that he has held up high,
right,
in terms of his aqeedah and the position that is very, very well known. So when someone, let's say, he wants to test with it's not about him penetrating or specific. It's about the beliefs, and you know what I mean, akhi. It's not about necessarily the individual himself, or you're trying to play this game. Because I agree with I think you, akhi. It's been made a game now. Well, like this person, or what do you think about this person? What do you think about that? I think it should be mainly on one person that the majority of people can agree upon. So that the rest would be complete outliers. Do you get, like, as example, Imam Ahmad at that time? Anyone who, if let's say we test with Imam Ahmad at that time, anyone who says that they don't believe what he believes, or they're against Imam Ahmad, then this would be a clear, clearly him stealing away from the rest of the Jama'ah. That's how I see it. But I agree that it's been a game now. It's been made a game, and everyone's quoting names that I don't even know, and just disputes and rivalries that don't mean anything.
Yeah. By the way, brothers, do you think, I'll take the shura of the panel, do you think it's a good idea that we put the stream link out to the public so people can come on stage, or should we just go through the questions in the text? It's up to you guys. I appreciate, and the audience ought to know we have two brothers who are from right now in the Middle East, in the lands of the Muslims, whereas actually I'm the only one actually who's in the West. So it's much easier for me to stay on. But these brothers suffering through the early hours of the morning rather than late beyond midnight in their time zone. It's more like approaching Fajr. So I want to be merciful to those brothers. But if you brothers who are overseas in the Muslim countries, if you would like to entertain, that's assuming people would jump on the stream, we could do that, or we could just go through the questions or the comments.
I'm personally for it, akhi. I don't know about.
I don't mind. Listen to that, whatever you think.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so-
I think that if brothers have big questions, then we might say, okay, we'll do a stream about it.
Right.
But, you're not gonna come and ask us like big questions that need like hours to obviously like things that are easy to, kind of talk about in a couple of minutes type thing.
Agreed. So I've never done this before, by the way, put out a StreamYard link. I've just done it now. I'm a bit nervous. No, I haven't done it before. So
I think just make sure the person who comes on is real and they're not.
Yeah.
Do you have blocking facilities?
Well, as soon as we can remove them as soon as they're on. Yeah.
Remove them, yeah.
I mean, we've got a 5-second delay, I think.
Do
The problem is
that
even though
sorry.
you have a 5-second delay,
It will still show.
certain things can affect your YouTube
Yeah.
channel. So
that's true. That's true.
you don't want them coming on naked or something. That's happened
Right.
before.
Well,
it gets ridiculous. Good.
You want to make sure you basically just get them to come on with their camera and show a few things, 3 fingers, 2 fingers, so know they're interacting with you. That's the real person.
Okay.
And let them on, inshallah.
Okay. Well, I'll take your
They don't have to have the camera on for the stream if they don't want to, but
Right.
just to make sure they're real, basically.
Okay, we'll do that. Is a brother already joined the stream? And I was going to say, but it's a bit of a mute point. Brothers and sisters, if you're going to come on, fear Allah. But then I guess if you fear Allah from saying anything abusive or harmful, let alone kufr or blasphemous or insulting or abusive. But then if you fear Allah, you wouldn't do that really at the outset. But even if you differ with us, then differ with your proofs and be respectful, and you will find us the most merciful of people. Right, inshallah, and we'll give you time. We're not going to cancel you, or I was going to say necessarily, we're not going to cancel you at all. We can't police the internet, but just show a bit of respect, and you will be treated with the energy you give out. And with that, let's bring on to the stage a brother calls himself Salah. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you guys? So I have a question, because there's a lot of misguidance in the Western English sphere online. And, I'm a young brother, and when I was younger trying to learn about Islam, I went to Mohammed Hijab, I went to the Ali Dawa and such. And alhamdulillah, there's benefit in them. But of course, now that we see, and now that his career progressed, Mohammed Hijab, he's a deviant. So who are the greatest English Salafi scholars online today, if you know any? And if you know any in real life, maybe in Canada, because I'm situated in Canada. If you know any English scholars in Canada who are of Salafi creed.
Are you in Toronto area or whereabouts are
I
you?
am. Toronto.
Yeah. I mean, Abu Huraira Masjid. Is it Abu Huraira? Not Abu Huraira. Yeah. Abu Huraira Masjid, I think, in Toronto. Are you aware of that one?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, they have good programs where they're teaching, and you have Sheikh Mutassim Al-Hamidi and other Sheikh Kamel as well, and they teach good Islam. Yeah, I mean, I've been to Toronto before. They've got a great community there. They're doing great work, great dawah. They have classes on teaching, so that would be something to look into.
One thing that Arabic gives you, which you lose out on if you don't have Arabic, is you can listen to a real scholar, and then it gives you a yardstick with which to measure other people you listen to, and you can tell who is and who isn't, who's filling the gaps, who's filling up the space with talk, and who actually knows what they're talking about. Wallahu alam. Anyway, it's a long journey, and you don't have to learn everything at the same time. Knowledge of Islam is special because we get the reward if our intention is pure. We get the reward when we attend a sitting of knowledge, whether we understand it or not. And our main goal is reward more than anything else. So the knowledge that we get is an extra benefit, but the reward that we get for giving our time to learn, that's the main goal we want. Wallahu alam.
To answer your question, Brother Salah.
Yes. Thanks for having me. Have a good day.
You're most welcome, brother. You too.
Jazakallah khair.
Rafiq, jazakallah. I want to look. I don't normally want to entertain idiotic comments, but I just want to very, very quickly respond to this. Typical Madkhali protecting the Tawaghit and protecting the Kafir, Zionist, Hotha Ali, and Zeke Zionist agent. This is itself the speech of a Zionist or the speech of a non-Muslim. We did not say anything that can be contradicted by the Book and the Sunnah. If we did, the onus is upon you to show how we did anything other than defend justice and the principles of Ahl Sunnah. This is just smear, throwing out filth, hoping that it will trick someone, because these are emotional terms. Everyone sees a mass murder in a certain place, the unaliving of an entire nation, and you think, oh, if the brother's saying that these are with them, then this panel must be all for that. We are the last people to support injustice against the Muslims. We're the last people to have any kind of association. Inshallah, we hope. With
he did takfir, by the way, just so you know.
This guy himself.
He's
takfir.
This guy's takfiri. Anyone who knows this guy's takfiri. Like this guy. So he called him zindiq. Zindiq means munafiq, which is kafir.
And
so you just did takfir.
He literally said kafir Zionist.
He says kafir Zionist. So he says it twice in zindiq, in the form of zindiq, and so I don't. So you're takfiri.
Yeah, and not that I'm going to entertain such comments, but just put that out there. If you want to bring something, bring your evidence. We will engage you.
As well, something very important. We're going to hear the word madkhali a lot. What does that even mean? I honestly, I don't even know what I think there are certain ideas of madkhali, but to me that word is meaningless. I don't even entertain that.
Yeah,
that's not even like a.
It requires a whole discussion. I've covered some of it. I said in the final episode of the Daniel Hakikichu playlist. It has a particular usage, and it can be used as a pejorative, as a cuss word, and also in basic academia. And also its intent means a kind of placidity when it comes to authority, so much so that you compromise Islam in order to placate an authority, which if someone does that's against Sharia, and that is un-Islamic, but that's a separate discussion. But
what I mean by
we are not of that group. We are not. Whatever you think. Yeah, whatever you think, that's not us.
But just for clarification, right? Yeah. What I mean by I don't know what it means, or I think it's lost its meaning.
Yeah,
this is what I mean. Yeah. It's lost its meaning. Everyone says it, and they mean different things.
Yes.
So I don't take the word seriously anymore.
Yeah.
If you're gonna make claims, can we please leave these like new terms? Can we just can you just use normal like language we used to use for hundreds of years? Like if you're gonna make an accusation, let's say, oh, you believe this in this bab, in this subject. This madkhali, guys, leave this words. Okay, everyone means something different. We're not gonna sit you down like a little child and ask you, what do you mean by this? Just use normal words. I don't get what's this whole at least you're going to smear us, you're going to lie on us properly, please.
Speaking of terms, I saw someone put a very good question, although I left it online for a while, about the neo-Hanabila. That requires a discussion in itself, so we will discuss this. This is what Mohammed Hijab very much is, I would say, or at least part of what he represents, is neo-Hanbalism, which in a nutshell are those who claim a tariqida whilst apologizing for tasawwuf and the shirkiyat that comes through istighatha, and for taqleed, the reprehensible taqleed, as well as kalam, ilmul kalam, or speculative theology, and they couple that with the hatred of a particular strand of Sunniism, which is associated with Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, and from the modern contemporary Salafi scholars. In a nutshell, that's what the Hanabila are. And they far haven't anything to do with Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, rahimahullah. So we will discuss that in a separate stream because it is a new trend. We have some more people in the background. I apologize for those who came in and left. We ourselves are guilty. I'm speaking on my behalf and the co-host, if they don't mind, in that maybe we will spend too much time with one brother. We want to keep it going so we have other brothers and other than brothers who want to contribute. We have an N who is in the stage, but we can't see you, brother N. And so he's left. Just to be fair on us, and so as we don't get the stream taken down by having some obscenity or something, surprises. If you could show yourself, at least as two brothers John will come back, I'm sure. Inshallah. There you go. Didn't make me out to be a liar. So if you can show yourselves, then we know that you're a real person, and then we will bring you on the stream. In the meantime, brothers, keep it going while I scroll through the comments. Go ahead, brothers. Keep the audience engaged.
Yeah, the first brother, by the way, was very respectful. I think like he's the like, how can I say, I don't know him personally, but he reminds me of like the person, like the perfect envision of what I want the youth to, like, you know what I mean, or like the brothers to be in the West. You know, like the brother wants to learn, he's respectful, he's not caught, he wants to, you know, look at the landscape and try to navigate it in the best way. May Allah you know, give him what he wishes for. Honestly, the brother was great.
It's also Jazakallah khairan. That's true. And you know, the question about seeking knowledge is the most basic of all questions, more important than anything about Mohammed Hijab or about Hutha or about anything like that. Yeah. I had something else to say, but yeah, it's a sign of their bid'ah. This comment that's on the screen now, it's a sign of their bid'ah that they always start with Saudi Arabia. Because if you're going to really go through the governments of the world, if you really think your job and it's beneficial to the Muslims to go through the governments of the Muslim nations, cursing each one of them one by one, then surely Saudi Arabia would be at the end of the line. But a sign of their bid'ah and their control of their desires, their jealousy, their anger, whatever else they have, is that they always begin with Saudi Arabia. They don't begin with Turkey or Egypt.
Akhi, he's mentioning a social issue, which is racism, right? He's mentioning a social issue, which is racism. Okay, why don't we talk about the Levant region and the people that are, by the way, the common people insult Allah. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. Like,
yes.
Akhi, it is. I don't think like people understand what it means. It's not like, oh, people just walk in the street. Like, people, when they insult Allah in the Levant region, they say it like, you know how people in the West say the F word, like in between sentences. To them, it's like it's a cool thing. I don't know if you guys seen this. You guys have seen this, but this is something.
I've seen it.
So why don't we see Mohammed Hijab come out, make a video, and talk about this social issue? You're talking to me about racism. What's worse, racism or kufr? And by the way, it's not just any kufr. It's, you know, the funny thing is, he makes videos about people who rip up the Quran, and what about Muslims, quote unquote, who insult Allah in between sentences? Why don't you talk about that? Why haven't I heard you talk about? You know about it. You know, if you know, it happened in Egypt. By the brothers, in Egypt, this happens like ton. Egypt is actually the number one ranked in terms of sabbillah, which is insulting Allah. They're number one ranked. So why don't you talk about it? Why don't you, as example, in Egypt, people always they do you know, half when they say, they don't say wallah, they say they do half by the Prophet.
Yeah. They say one Nabi.
They say one Nabi, one Rasul, whatever. Right? So why don't you talk about that? I don't get it. Isn't this a big issue? Isn't this a big issue, or is it not a big issue? So
it's an aqeedah issue, yes.
It's an aqeedah issue. So listen, I think to me, it's the if he's really true in terms of what he says, and this is a big issue for him, then there is a level of priority. There's a priority. Which issues are more important? And if you really take Islam seriously and you take these issues seriously, then I don't need to tell you this. We will look at your output, and you will already be taking this into account, that this issue is very important. So I'm going to talk about this issue, and then that issue, and then that issue. Is racism really bigger than sabbillah, insulting Allah and the religion of Islam in the Levant? Which is a bigger issue? I want him to answer this. Which is a bigger issue? Insulting Allah and His Messenger, by the way, verbatim. I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about, you know, like it's inferring it or it's by inference. No, I'm talking about verbatim, all time, every day, hundreds of times a day for years. This is the culture. So why don't you talk about it? You're never going to talk about it because you don't care about this issue. You don't care about the issues that we need to look at in terms of the social issues amongst the youth, be it in Arab countries or otherwise in the Western. You know, actually, this thing about, you know, insulting Allah in between sentences, does it get any worse? Like, I'm just thinking about it, just sitting. In the West, is there a worse social thing between the Muslim brothers in
just a question here, Qaisi. These people who, because obviously, although I speak Arabic, alhamdulillah, my experience of non-religious Arabs is very limited. These people who insult Allah in this way or use Allah's name as a curse or whatever, they're people who would pray, or?
Okay, let me give you a personal experience, okay? And Allah is witness to this. I was in the masjid, I was praying, and a person was, this is, by the way, this is a Muslim. He's 60 years old. I'm not talking about this generation. No. By the way, the ones who do this are the older generation mostly. But even the people nowadays do. I was praying in the masjid, in the mosque, by the way. Of course, I just said masjid. What am I talking about? Okay, I was praying and someone was walking in front of me. I stopped him. And you know the hadith of the Prophet, right? He pushed me in salah. He pushed me. He shoved me. And I was going to come out of prayer and confront him, right? And then after I came out of prayer, akhi, he insulted me and Allah and religion in the masjid.
La ilaha illallah.
Allah, wallah. This guy is a grown man. He's 60 years old and he's from some qabila. I'm not going to mention the name. Right?
Yeah, it would not be beneficial.
Yeah. But the point is about, and this was in the Levant region, right? So what do you want me to say? And this guy, by the way, he's always in the masjid in the first row praying. I mean, read the Quran.
La ilaha illallah.
I'm not trying to demonize people or anything. I'm just saying, ikhwa, the brothers, I think a lot of them have a romanticization of the realities here in the Arab countries.
For sure.
If we want to talk about social issues, let's talk about social issues. But we're going to have difficult conversations you don't want to have. It's easy for you to come out and talk about Arab races. Of course, it's easy for you. How about you talk about some real issues? Issues that actually happen.
Racism is a real issue, no doubt.
I'm sorry. I mean, in the scale that he's talking about, this is not, it's not as important and it's not as present and as he's talking about. It's not a real issue, but I've suffered it, by the way. There is racism, 100%. There is racism, and people and certain people have an arrogance and a complex, right? That they look down on. I'm 100%. That is true, but I believe that these issues about insulting Allah and His Messenger and the all of these other sorts, these are much more present, by the way.
If somebody's willing to insult Allah and His Messenger, it's going to be difficult to explain to them that they shouldn't insult people because of their skin color or because of their tribal name. Obviously, yes.
I've been asked to pin the StreamYard link in the chat. I actually don't know how to pin it. I've been looking up and down, so I've just pasted it on there. I'm sorry. Like I said, this is the first time we're inviting the public on, so it's teething issues. We have a brother in the chat, but I would ask if you could please show yourself or give us some evidence.
Show yourself. Who's your sheikh?
Yeah. Okay, Barakallah Feek. Okay, I'm gonna let a brother on, and let's unmute the brother. Okay, go ahead, bro. You're live.
MashaAllah.
Assalamu
alaikum.
How my brother's doing?
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah. I've been pretty much observing behind the scenes and subhanallah, it's kind of disturbing the way that the Muslims treat each other, being that we all are being attacked from all fronts, and you would think that would bring us closer together as Muslims, because we say ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. You would think that we would be supportive of each other. And subhanAllah, you find that we are more at each other's throat, quote unquote, than the enemy is at us. But I would the topic is Mohammed Hijab versus Salafism. Is that what the topic is, or is it just an open discussion?
We were talking about his discussion with Dr. Hutha, right? But that's a part of it, I think. Generally, that was the origin of it.
Nah, well, unfortunately, I lived in Saudi Arabia for 6 years, okay? And I'm not going to put it on every Saudi that there is some element of racism, and I don't think that it is inherent with our brothers. I think that it's more from the acts of Jahiliyyah. If you study if you study the seerah of the prophets, it wasn't that they were just racist toward non-Arabs. They were pretty much they pretty much had issues with each other, you know. So if you're not from this tribe, if you're from that tribe, I mean, they see you to be as inferior, and you would think that, you know, being that we have Islam and the Prophet had left us with the best example, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that, you know, that our brothers would be carrying the banner of that example. But I mean, we're human beings, and
Akhi, you
and,
made a good point. Let me comment on something, right?
Mhm.
Let's talk about realities. Is there no historical precedent, like the reasons for this, like, and Aqidah reasons? Like as example, the whole discussion between, you know, people talking about Khalij and talking about the Levant region, but there are realities, historical realities, and real realities in terms of Aqidah that cause these differences. You get what I mean? Like when there is a certain group of people that look down on other people, it could be for real reasons. It could be for correct reason, not because I am Arab. It's because we have disagreements, historical disagreements, and belief in disagreements in terms of beliefs. You know, I don't want to mention.
No, I don't
specifics.
think.
wanna go
Well, I mean, I would agree and then disagree, because we have one Aqidah, we have one example, and as we know that Islam had came to abolish slavery, so it wasn't that just the Ethiopian was the slave, but we understand that the I would say the Rajul al-Aswad, you know, they around the earth they have been looked and frowned upon, and I would say that we are taking the intellect, or allowing to the intellect of the disbeliever to overcome our Aqidah and our minhaj. This is what I would say, because Islam had came to abolish that.
in between neighboring countries, in the Levant region, there is racism. Like do you get this? Like they look down upon each other. I'm talking about generally, like this is something that is present.
You think this is from asabir, from nationalism? I think it stems from nationalism.
Nationalism, tribalism, but most importantly, ignorance and bu'd.
And this is from Jahiliyyah. Correct.
Distance from the deen, distance from ilm. So if somebody has these attributes, then it's a sign of distance from ilm, distance from Islam. Even if they have achieved Islam in other facets of their life, if they still have this kind of ignorance and arrogance with them, then that's a sign of their distance.
Okay, but let's be honest, though. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Are we really implementing that which the Prophet and our companions and those who follow, are we implementing that which they have set as an example for us? I think that we've gotten away from that, because the best of an individual is based on his taqwa and his worship with Allah, right? But instead, again, we follow, you know, we follow the Jews and the Christians as if we follow them into a lizard hole. So we look at the worldly status, or what you have of material gain, or, you know, if you are a poor country or a rich country, we look at these things instead of, you know, does this person have iman? Is the person aqidah is sound? Do he have akhlaq? Is his saluk, you know, is intact? So we don't look at these things. We look at the characteristics that has been established by those who was mentioned. We would follow it into a lizard hole.
Jazakallah for your contribution. There's many more people who want to come in, so we appreciate your contribution, and please join us again next week, Brother Rashid. Yeah, thank you very much for taking.
Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. By the way, someone asked, which I guess is a fair question, although I think I answered it. Why is it that I'm insisting people show themselves while I don't show myself? It's because I know I'm not going to post some pornography or some obscenity, and we just don't know who else is there, right? It could be a non-Muslim. This happened in the past. You know, it could be an Islamophobe or whatever, race bait, whatever it might be. So we just have to be careful. And it's not insult to the audience. We just don't know you. Whereas I know what I'm not going to do. And so it's just to know you're real. So inshallah, brother, sorry, I know you've been waiting patiently, brother Umar, the mic is yours.
Thank you very much. And I understand your reasons for showing the face. Meanwhile, you don't. It's very much understandable. Firstly, I want to say two things in regard of Mohammed Hijab, our brother. He mentioned firstly that Saudis said stuff about him being like the N-word and stuff like that. I'm not sure if he knows or not, but many tribes in Saudi Arabia are black, very black as Africans. That doesn't make them less or more, they're just equivalent. Me, myself, I'm a Saudi. I went to school, middle school, and now in college. 90% of the people in my college are not even Saudis. It's a private college. Most of them are from Syria. Some of them are from Sudan, in fact. The second thing is that he mentioned in regard of him being an Egyptian. I'm not sure if he knows that most of the Saudis that are not in their country are living in Saudi Arabia. اللي يعيشون خارج المملكة هم أصلاً الأغلبية منهم يعيشون بالمملكة العربية في مصر. So
the majority of Saudis that live outside of Saudi Arabia live in Egypt.
Yes, indeed. Yes. And most of the working class in Saudi Arabia, if you go to the IT, if you go to myself, the head of my college is an Egyptian. I have been named as, like, when I get into a fight with someone from Saudi Arabia, he would say stuff about me. For such an example, being short. If he knew my tribe, he would say something bad about it. I don't know. This is very, like, you would find it even everywhere. It's a very bad, but like it's like this is a society. You're living in a society. So in regard of this, I don't really understand him very much. I think he's doing that not for the sake of critiquing, but for the reason of just generalizing and supporting his personal benefit.
And rage baiting, yes.
Yes, indeed. Thirdly, I saw him claiming being from the Sharif, the tribe of the Muhammad, Allahumma salli wa sallam alayh. And he was claiming it was not true. But the most thing that made me very frustrated is that he mentioned a poem, قصيدة, لست بقوم شرفت بل شرفوا بي. Like, have you lost your mind saying that?
Yeah,
which means I haven't been honored by my tribe, but my tribe is honored by me.
Absolute
at the same
joke,
time,
exactly what I told you, akhi. Everyone went crazy on that.
Like, you understand what are you saying? And I saw I'm a medical student. I saw his live with Hutha. I highly recommend he's having a manic episode, because the way he was screaming, and I knew him when I was young. I saw him debating with atheists. He was more calm and he was giving time, and now he was jumping and screaming. He's not the one that I knew. I don't know. That felt very bad, and it made me sad, to be honest, because I respected him a lot.
الله يستر. إذا لم تستحي فاصنع ما شئت.
You know, by the way, brother, I talked about this yesterday, and I was going to bring this tweet about him mentioning Mutanabbi. I told him we have to mention this bait, because I told people about this. No one can believe what he said. It's one of the craziest things Mohammed Hijab ever said. And when I wanted to go to bring this quote from Mohammed Hijab for tweet, he deleted it. And I was looking for the source so I can bring it and we can see, we can show the brothers, and I would have translated it to show the people how ridiculous this person is. And unfortunately, because no one has saved it, at least from what I know, we cannot show it. But it's crazy what he said. He attacked the Prophet and the whole lineage of the Prophet, which he claimed he's a part of.
Subhanallah.
Subhanallah.
Brother Umar, I just want to say, just to confirm, to agree with you, I was lecturing at Jamiatul Imam in Riyadh, as well as being a listening student, and our asatid, our lecturers who were Egyptians, they were loved by their students and by their colleagues from Saudi Arabia, the other lecturers. There was no thought that these people are lesser than us. Of course, the student is not going to look down upon his teacher if he's benefiting from him, unless he comes with evil manners, which was far from the reality. So this kind of unsuriya and irqiya, it may exist amongst the ignorant people and amongst the fools and people who laugh like maniacs and are possessed by jinns, but it doesn't exist amongst the common people who have a bit of fear of Allah. And we know that all of us have our issues, and all of us can be amazed with ourselves and think we are better than the next person. But at the end of the day, subhanAllah, when we return to the book of the Sunnah, or we return to our Lord during our prayer, or as we sleep and so on and so forth, and to the adhkar, we're reminded that we are just creation and that we're no better than the next person. And we all have to fear Allah, and it's easy to pick out the bad apples, the bad examples, and tar an entire, not just an entire nation, an entire aqidah, the firqatun najah. I'm not saying that we are promised paradise for those who think that's what it means. It means that we recognize the truth of those who have given us the path to paradise, which is the truth of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his Salaf. And so we don't think that the Egyptian is lesser than the Saudi, God forbid, in any way, shape or form, illa bittaqwa.
Yes, and to add something also, he mentioned that Najdism and Bedouins and stuff like that. This term was made firstly in the days of Nasiriyah, the Arabian nationalism, the fascism of Arabian nationalism, which was in the days, I believe, King Faisal and King that comes after Faisal, Allah yarhamuh, Khalid also. That term was used against Salafism by the Arabian nationalist to represent Salafism as a stupid, ignorant Bedouins that talks about things that they do not understand, because Salafism was an opposition of nationalism. So they want to represent this Salafism and this ijtihad as a Bedouin inferior thoughts. So they said it's not Islam, neither Salaf. This is a bunch of Bedouins riding camels.
So again, an example of racism as well.
Yeah. So Jazakallah, brother Umar. We'd love to have you on more, but we have other people waiting in the line. We really appreciate your contribution.
Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair,
brother.
Thank you very
much.
Alaikum.
You're most welcome, brother. Let's bring on features.
Hey, Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, bro. Don't get us banned. Whatever you do, don't get us taken down.
This time I'll be nice. I've seen too many legends up in the screen there, John Fontaine and all kind of stuff, man. I gotta be good.
Yeah, you gotta be good.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers. How you doing, man?
Assalam wa barakatuh.
So,
how'd you find the stream so far, bro?
I just finished work, bro. So
you missed it.
Yeah, man. I literally I was doing my work, and then I kind of like when I was closing out my work, I just turned on the YouTube while I was turning on, and I see all these handsome faces, all my brothers, and talking about something that that I know a little about. I'm don't mean to brag, maybe just a little. I'm gonna brag just a little, but I know a little bit of something about Mohammed Hijab and stuff, right? So I said, okay, let me hop on, because I haven't been on YouTube for a long time, as you know, right? So only Knowledge North can bring me out of retirement.
As long as you don't put me into retirement, bro.
I'll be good.
Well, we were
brother.
actually scheduled to have an American join us, American revert, but he had some. He's traveling, so he had Wi-Fi issues. So, alhamdulillah, we've compensated. We've got our DEI. We've got
There's a lack of an American.
DEI
on the-
hire.
we got our diversity.
You got the token Negro.
We-
Sorry.
American, yeah.
Yeah, brothers.
Oh,
Yeah,
but,
so-
but really, you have to go. I appreciate you working. This is a difficult thing. We're trying to find the best time.
John Fontaine, you're muted. We can't hear you, man. Sorry, brother. Go ahead.
I was saying that we have to find this, balance between American time zone, where there's far more potentially viewers, of course, and the European time zone. And then, unfortunately, these brothers, all of whom, besides you and me, are in the Middle East, who are really ought to be sleeping now, if not preparing for Fajr. So it's that difficult
hear me?
thing. So I hope you can go back. Yeah, we can hear you, bro. I hope you can go back, Brother Features, and watch it, and
Features,
Yeah,
I got
brother.
a question.
You go ahead, brother.
Features. Now we've got our token black guy here. I need to ask you a question. But listen,
Yeah.
at what since when? See, Mohammed Hijab is now using the N word, right? Because
Yeah.
right, because he says through a DNA test, he's 30% sub-Saharan, right?
20%, brother.
Is it 20%? Oh, sorry.
20%.
So at what point can someone who has two parents who don't identify as black use the N word? Can you please fill us in on this? Because this is not what I've been taught, brother. What's going on?
No worries, man. I'm gonna get a little bit serious here for a second.
Behave yourself
right?
now.
So
Behave yourself.
I'm gonna behave. I'm gonna behave.
Please.
I'm gonna behave.
Right.
Bismillah, salatu wasalam, rasulullah, wa ba'd. Okay. So if you go refer to my channel, actually, this is something I talked about a lot on my channel, referring to Mohammed Hijab and his transactional relationships with other influencers, and how he has propelled himself to be the most influential influencer in the Muslim sphere because of these relationships. And one of these relationships that he basically got this idea from was Sneeko directly. So when he converted, right, we gave him some chances. You know what I mean? We're trying to be easy on him. He just new Muslim, but however, his dawah has nothing to do with Tawheed or Quran or Sunnah or anything like that. His entire dawah, Sneeko's entire dawah, right, is can we say the N-word? Can we say the N-word? Okay. He's on streams with Muslim Lantern, Mohammed Hijab. Who else was on that stream? I can't remember, right? But he's asking them
The Warner,
directly.
I think. The Warner was on the stream.
Yeah. He's asking directly, is it permissible to say the N-word in Islam? And he has a hell of videos, Sneeko does. He has a hell of videos talking about saying the N-word. So because Sneeko is pushing this and he's this large influencers, it's not just Mohammed Hijab. You find Uthman Farouk saying the N-word. You find yes, wallahi. Asim al-Hakim saying the N-word. Okay. You find all these influencers saying the N-word, right? And they're doing it openly because of their attachment with other influencers, which is their dawah. Their dawah has nothing to do with calling the people to Allah or Quran or Sunnah. Their dawah is to build numbers for their channels so they can get some sort of income. That's their entire dawah. So if it's trending, that's going to be their dawah. You understand? So we've been talking about this for years, right? Now, tooting my own horn again, okay? Tooting my own horn again, right? It was Brother Features who had been talking about Daniel Hakikachu for a hell of time, right? And his basically his relationship with far right, alt-rights, politics, right? Now, what does it have to do with Mohammed Hijab and the N-word? Okay. Daniel Hakikachu was essentially the gateway of inviting Muslims to this very far right political leaning, right? It was him who was kind of like the innovator behind that, right? Which led a lot of Muslims to be overtly racist in their speech. And you find it all over the place. And Muslims that we want to like, right, are expressing overt relationship or racism openly, right? And Mohammed Hijab was not the first. He was not the first. If you look at Daniel Hakikuchu and the relationship between him and Mohammed Hijab now, right? Remember like last year sometime when you had all these online influencers, they came out with this long, you know, like, not a long letter, but a letter of like, but it's a long list of online influencers said that we distance ourselves from Daniel Hakikuchu, right? Remember that was sometime last year, right? Who was not on that list? Do you know who was not on that list? It was Mohammed Hijab. Mohammed Hijab was not on that list because Mohammed Hijab does not have a thing called principles. You understand? He does not have a thing called principles. His principles are whatever is trending, and he will halalify it. And he will do whatever it takes to Islamify and halalify these principles, which is why he's now into this N-word stuff, because this N-word stuff is trending in the far right community. You get me? You find comedians now, and they invite some of these comedians like Owen Benjamin saying, oh, we should say the N-word, right? Sneeko, another one of them, right? I can't remember this other influencer. Just recently had somebody come on his channel just blurting out the N-word just like this, right? Now, the N-word, if you talk about racism, the N-word is actually the least. It's like a very small portion of racism. Racism is not the idea of, oh, I don't like you because of, you know, because you're black or something like that. That is just like a small, silly portion of racism. Racism is a concept that started about 400 or 500 years ago, right? Where you have a group of people who classified themselves as white, who religiously, literally, scientifically try to show that they are superior over a group that they classified as black in order to keep those black people that they classified as black perpetually, in bondage forever, right? This is what racism is, right? So now these people are pushing in these ideas to keep that gravy train rolling because white supremacy, global white supremacy is on its last legs. And we see it all over the place, right? We see it happening in the States where these white supremacists are, you know, basically losing their minds with, you know, they're putting Donald Trump in power, all kind of stuff. You know, you see it happening in Africa. You have Burkina Faso kicking up the French, all this kind of stuff, right? So now the money behind this racism, you have like Elon Musk, you have Peter Thiel, all these rich, huge billionaires, right, are pushing the ideas of racism. And this is why these guys are pushing these ideas. It comes from the far right, and it's whatchamacallit, it's profitable, and that's their whole business model. Okay. That's their whole business. I know I kind of rambled on. I hope
referencing eugenics.
I hope I made sense, but that's what they're doing.
I think he was referencing eugenics, but maybe when he was talking about a couple for 100 years ago, right, brother?
Was that? What about eugenics?
Were you referencing eugenics or
no? Eugenics is an idea that started at the end of the 18th century.
Yeah, it was more. Yeah, I thought that was.
Eugenics was completely different. Racism is an idea that started. There was no such thing racism before 500 years ago. It started in Spain. It's a long story. I explained it a lot on my channel, right? But essentially, the whole point of racism is that, you know, the people who classified themselves as white, it started with the Spanish, despite what people think of the British. So, John Fontaine, you can not worry about people saying that you started it. It wasn't y'all, it was the Spanish. Okay, all right. The Spanish, they were the ones who started the idea of racism. Okay, and the whole point of racism, because these Europeans, they discovered the New World, right, and they wanted a slave class in order to get the wealth and the riches of this new world, right? So race comes from the Spanish word araza meaning race for resources, land, riches, all this kind of stuff. That's how it all started, right? And they invented the idea of the white race and the black race, right? Where the white race is perpetually over the black race in order to keep them enslaved so that they can usurp that's the very, 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 very summarized version. Okay?
Well, Jazakallah, you managed to get, we got through that without getting taken down. So
yeah, there you go. There you go.
That's
yeah.
I mean, we just got so many people who wanted to join. So
yeah, you got it, bro.
Appreciate it.
Just before you go, how is your health? How is everything?
Oh man, real talk, my health is like terrible. Sorry to say like that. But alhamdulillah, you know. Alhamdulillah.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, take care, bro. Okay, take care. Yeah.
Allah yashfik. Allah yassalam.
By the way, there's a few brothers who are backstage who aren't showing themselves. Look, I don't mind if you don't want to show yourselves live, but at least backstage so I can verify you are real people, and then I can bring you on without you having to show yourself. So at least backstage, I can see you're real.
Do you brothers know him? The person who just came. I love his personality. He's so
yeah,
bubbly.
we know him well. Okay, so now we have Tawheed Ummah. You've got the mic. Bro, you're live.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I see that Mohammed Hijab is the topic of the day, right? Of course, he's a controversial figure for sure, right? So I want to work out, inshallah, with you brothers, how to, deal with the problem in Da'wah today. I can see we've got some very experienced and good brothers on the platform today, especially John Fontaine, mashallah, we have here. Allahumma barik. Is that John Fontaine? It
this is the real John Fontaine. This is the
Allah
real
Akbar.
Spring in the Rain is John Fontaine.
Blood and flesh.
Allahumma barik. I mean, we need, to be fair, more mature brothers like John Fontaine to take control of these types of situations, because especially when it comes to dealing with, the Nasara, the Christians especially, I mean, things have gotten so out of hand, Allahul Musta'an, that I think the da'wah has literally become it's become anti-da'wah. I mean, I think a lot of brothers will agree. It's wallahi, to reverse these effects is going to be a mammoth task, I believe. Wallahi, I mean, if you try to compare the da'wah of today compared to when it first began with the Zakir Naiks, and then how it developed into more of a platformed type of da'wah online, and street da'wah came into it with stalls and everything. I mean, we're in a different world today. We are in a completely different world of da'wah. So I just wanted to, just give that comment. However, so yeah, with brothers like, I think the more experienced, older ones, I mean, even if you think about Hamza Zotsis, for example, yeah, he's happens to be such a close figure to, the likes of Mohammed Hijab, which is almost, which is strange actually, because he's someone I see as an experienced, mature, he comes with a mature and experienced perspective when it comes to da'wah as a whole, and I feel has called out even people who may be close to Mohammed Hijab in an indirect way. However, he happens to be very close to him, so I don't know how that we can square that circle, because when Mohammed Hijab is on Sapience, yeah, like very recently, he did this lecture, he brought up Ibn Taymiyyah, he brought up Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, right? And there are very good things that he can contribute. He's when he speaks in that manner and he's not being dramatic and melodramatic, I think he has things to contribute. But like as a whole, I think when it comes to this whole thing about Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Abdul Wahhab, which is the most recent thing, I think this is where it's not just Mohammed Hijab at this point. It's gone way beyond that. Do you get it? Like there's Daniel Hakikatu who's basically turned the da'wah on his head. I mean, Muhammad Abdul Wahhab is not a figure where we are speaking about someone who scholars have not accepted en masse and explained his books. I mean, we're talking about a person who's big.
He's not fringe in any way. Yeah,
not in any way. I mean, scholars have literally explained his books like again and again and again, and they haven't come up with these problems that are suddenly arriving, which is like how did we get to this point, honestly? And I think it's come to a point where they just hate each other for the sake of hating each other. And this hatred is spiraling out of control so much, and then the Dawa and the religion is just being used to continue that sort of battle that's going on. And then there's followers and teams and all sorts. And it's creating such a fitna that, like, wow, I mean, I really honestly, I don't see how we can reverse these effects. But I'd like to hear some of the opinions of you guys and brothers, because I just joined the show. I really don't, I know I wouldn't articulate in any way, but I just want to know what you guys have to add to that. Inshallah, I'll listen up from.
You've gone quiet, bro. We can't hear you.
He's asking what we have to talk
Okay, no, you
about
went
the
very
issue.
quiet. Oh, okay.
He I think he ended his question.
Fair
Can I speak on this first?
Sure. I just want to say, by the way, I know there's a brother.
Yeah, go ahead,
Saad
brother,
in
go ahead.
the background, if you want to come on. As well. Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead, brother. Answer the question.
Akhi, I think I've had this discussion with you. I think it's about having an alternative, like in the scene, because for a very long time, there are certain individuals we've seen their faces in podcasts, in discussions, everything like that. But there has been no real alternative. Like you saw the brother that came, that's the first brother that came. He's saying, this is the English sphere, and where do I take my knowledge from? So this is obviously an issue that has been there forever. It's been there since, people have thought about it. It's been there, right? So I think it's about having an alternative. I think that's maybe a part of why we want the podcast to be there. It's as the brother Fontaine mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. The podcast is that there are a lot of people who have different opinions on the subject, and there's a lot of cloudiness, and people are confused. So hopefully here we will kind of speak about the subject in detail, and if there's any doubts or anything like that, we can address it. That's my answer. Maybe the brother Fontaine can talk more about it.
Before you do, John, I just want to address this because it's coming up a lot. No one's denying that there's racism. Sorry, maybe that was the wrong one. No one's denying that there's racism in any Muslim country, within tribes and within families. What we're saying, it's got nothing to do with the Dawa Salafiyya, nothing to do with Sheikh Mohammed ibn Abdul Wahab or Ibn Taymiyyah or any of the brothers here, inshallah. So it's a how can you say? It's a misdirection. It's a deflection. It's a smear tactic of the very akin to what a certain genocidal group of people would do, where they want to tarnish the entire legacy of the people of Sunnah by accusing them of things which we Ahlul Sunnah are completely free of. So no one's trying to apologize for anything that opposes the Sharia, not now, not before, and not ever, inshallah ta'ala. Go ahead, John, if you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, this idea of having this kind of session and podcast, hopefully, inshallah, we can carry on weekly and bring some kind of balance to what's going on throughout the week, because there's a lot going on in the Dawa scene where people don't know what is right and wrong these days when they see in Dawa. There's big discussions on things that our generation, or I'm slightly younger than you guys, but there's things that what we would see as obvious, but they're obviously not obvious to the younger generation. And so this is a part of commanding the good and forbidding the evil. And I think that's what's been neglected, really, forbidding the evil and actually clarifying for the people where things are going wrong, and correcting and showing solutions on how to correct these issues. It's just been allowed to go on for so long, and it's got to this stage where now you're encouraging people to think about you when you're doing dhikr. Like this is what it's come to, and it should never have got past stage one. It should have been nipped in the bud years ago, and it's spoken about behind the scenes. A lot been going on behind the scenes, but when things are done publicly, things have to be corrected publicly for the people, for the benefit of the people, and that's our fault. That's the da'i, the scholars, and the everyday people. We all have a duty to command the good, forbid the evil, and speak out against these things and correct it, and not play into it, not play into this entertainment. So we're all to blame, really, we are. when you think about it, it should never have got to this level. And 1 million followers in, this is where we're at. So all we can do now is try to help people and correct people. And it's going to take time to build up this stream. Maybe people will listen, maybe we won't, but at least we try our best to shed some light onto the situation, inshallah.
Before I bring Brother Saad, you have the mic. I apologize if you didn't want to show yourself. I saw you backstage. As I said, as long as I can see you backstage, you don't need to show yourself online, although we'd rather you do because it helps keep people engaged. I just want to make one quick point with that regards to follow up from what the brother said. With regards to Mohammed Hijab, I have this playlist, the Ottoman Wahhabi War. It's actually, as with most videos, scripted years and years ago, maybe 5 years ago, and then you just update it and tweak it when you've got some things to play into it. So the 6th episode was actually taking stuff from Mohammed Hijab and talking about the theology of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab and the Dawa Najdiya in refutation of things that Muhammad Hijab had said. And this was 3 years ago. But I held back because I thought we'd rather have him with us than against us. Like we'd rather have every Muslim join our camp, right? And there's others amongst this crowd whose names we don't need to mention now, from the Bible bashing crew and other than them, that we'd like to bring on board because we see in all of them khair. Even if we refute them, we're not doing it out of malice. We're doing it out of love of Ahlul Sunnah, are the most merciful when it comes to Ahlul Bidah, because we are more, as the Salaf said, we're more merciful to them than their mothers, because we want to rescue them as we want to be rescued, wishing good for ourselves as we wish for our brothers and sisters, rescue them from Allah's wrath, and help them, help us all enter into Allah's mercy. That's why we refute. And even those refutations, there's banter, but there's no malice, there's no hatred, there's wanting good for a person to come to Islam. But because he went so far with thinking, okay, now we have to, not that I would have objected to doing this kind of exposés years ago, but he's left it at a point that we could not tolerate anymore, because he was openly attacking Salafiyah after having essentially abandoned Salafiyah, whereas before he was claiming Athariyah, claiming Salafiyah as a neo-Hanbali, as a kind of wannabe new Sufi tariqah devotee. So I just wanted to say that. And now, Saad, brother, I apologize if we kept you waiting so long. You have the mic if you're still there. Well, you'll have to unmute yourself. Maybe he's not there.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
Brother, the stream is, we can hear the stream.
Okay. How about now?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
It's fine now? Okay, Jazakumullah khair. خلاص والله يا إخوان جزاكم الله خير for everything you guys are doing. You guys have been there from day one. I don't keep up too much with the English da'wah scene, but from what I see, wallahi, mashallah, you guys are on khair. And there's just one thing I want to mention. One thing that is very noticeable with the Salafiyin all over the world, ولكن in the West, it's a little bit more pronounced, you could say. It's that if one wants to put himself out there and refute or denounce or talk about Ahlul Bidah, he does not get any support from his Salafi brothers around him. Why? Because as soon as you speak, they tell you, Man zakkak, right? Which group are you from? You're from these mashayikh or from these guys. So we have problems within each other because of tayarat, and this happens, This is a well-known problem. And because, from my limited knowledge, I think that this has become something that has really limited our da'wah and limited our reach, and it's allowed people like Hijab, like Haqiqatu, like all these harakiyin, and that's what they all are. They're all just political activists. Let's be honest, ala tariqat al-ikhwan, just like they don't have to be from the hizb, from the actual ikhwan muslimin themselves, but they're on the same method, same methodology. So just to go back, what I'm saying is, this is a problem we have to all acknowledge and try to do something about. If a brother opens his mouth and he's defending the Da'wah Salafiyya itself, he's not defending his sheikh or his tayyar, He's not defending whatever, right? He's defending the da'wah itself, da'wah al-anbiya. And for us to just not support him, or to be like, oh, he belongs from this hizb or from this tayyar, he listens to this sheikh, he listens to that, so we're just going to ignore him, pretend like this doesn't exist. Meanwhile, these harakiyin will come together, hold hands, and bring back the da'wah of Ibn Jirjis and who else? Muhammad Zaini Dahlan, all these old da'wat that have perished. Somehow it came back in 2026. والله أمر عجيب يا أخوان. Most of these shubuhat these guys give out, أصلا it's something refuted. All كتب أئمة الدعوة النجدية, we all have them till now, right? Sheikh John Fountain, you know Sheikh Abdul Rahman Dimashqiya, right?
Yeah.
His mawsu'a of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, wallahi, just that mawsu'a has enough refutations for all of these guys. Just his mawsu'a, 2 volumes printed. In the 80s he printed it. It was
He's going to print it again soon, inshallah.
Inshallah. And Sheikh Abdul Rahman Dimashqiya is a great resource, and the Sheikh speaks English. Wallahi, the fact that we have a Sheikh at that age, he's been around from the old days. Sheikh Abdul Rahman.
Oh, sorry.
Hello?
My apologies. That might have been my mistake. Please bring yourself back, Saad. I do apologize. There's just so many people in the background that I'm having to clean it up somewhat.
Is it that much?
There's a
Really?
good few. Yeah, alhamdulillah, which is a nice thing. But so I may have deleted the wrong press. So my apologies. Whoever was up.
Just to add something to what he was saying, he's right. I mean, we need to support each other and speak. The problem is because we fear Allah, we're careful what we speak, and sometimes we're a bit reluctant to speak and get out there. But inshallah, I hope we can keep this a weekly thing and force ourselves to give some contribution to what's going on, inshallah.
Akhi, I just want to add something. The brother, he seems like he's from the Middle East. And I don't know if he's hearing me or not.
He's back.
He's back. The brother, listen. I think like everything you said, I 100% agree. About. I've always thought about this. I've been a spectator in the scene. I'm Arab. I'm a spectator, and I was keeping up with the English da'wah scene for a long time, right? And I think that there is always, as you mentioned, there's always this kind of thing about, what's your tayyar? Who is your sheikh? So if we're going to stay in this type of mindset, then who's going to stand up and who's going to talk about these issues? Because the scholars that we all agree upon, like let's say Sheikh Salih or other, of course they're not going to come on a podcast. And the scholars that you guys listen to, these people, they have their places where they speak in the Arabic language, they give durus, they give lectures. So then where the saha, this sphere, it's going to be left for people like Mohammed Hijab. So we capitulated to him, and we capitulated to the people that follow him and are like him, and now they have the ground to play around and say whatever nonsense they have to say. And the point he mentioned is very correct about these shubha that Mohammed Hijab brings. He makes it out to be these are new things. These are inventions he brought or other people have brought in the last century, when this is in fact this is not real. This is not real life. All of these shubha have been discussed and they've been responded to hundreds of years ago. So when we come out, because listen, if we believe that we have the haqq on our side, it should be pretty easy. If we studied, we went to the books, we looked at the evidences, then it should be easy to come and present them to the people. But if we're going to stay LARPing on this whole, this person is this from this tayyar, this is my sheikh, that's my sheikh, who are you? Then we will never go anywhere.
No, absolutely. Jazakumullah khairan. You guys can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Jazakumullah khair. I think my point has reached. One other thing, if I can add.
Shoot.
When it comes to all these guys, they all bank on the fact that most people don't research, don't read. They'll just take what he says at face value, right? So if he says, for example, I just seen a clip recently, he said that the Ash'ara, for example, don't say the kalam is kalam Allah is makhluq, right? Even though يعني معروف قولهم بالكلام النفسي and all of that, and we know they do say it's makhluq, right? And they believe in two Quran and the whole mas'ala. But the reality is most people are not going to go back. They're not going to go look at Shurahat al-Wasitiyya or Shurahat al-Tadmuriyya. No one's going to do that. So they're going to bank off yani people, you know, just listening to that and just taking it as information, taking it as haqq, and moving on. Meanwhile, you know, our guys were just, we're silent. We're worried about this. We're worried about, you know what I mean? So this is a problem I think needs to be addressed. Another thing is support. You know, not just support as in we watch each other's videos, we subscribe, we like and stuff. Also support in terms of finances. Yeah, why not? A brother has a channel, has something going on. If we're not, wallahi, look, these kuffar, look how much they're willing to spend for their batil deen, you know? These Ahl Bid'ah, look what they're willing to go through for their batil. Meanwhile, us, we can't donate for a brother sends a link, brother's having issues, we can't support each other even in the most simplest ways. So, like for example, Haqiqatu, you guys seen his documentary, obviously, on Wahhabi and I don't know what.
No,
look at the production. Ya Akhwan, look at the production. What is this Netflix, I don't know, very high level.
Yeah.
Yeah, very high level,
Yeah.
With the background, with this, with that. Like an average shab watching, sitting in the West, he's going to be like, wow, mashallah, he's going to listen, he's going to, just from entertainment, he's going to watch it, let alone, the information.
And certain beliefs are going to seep through, even through the entertainment. Yeah, so this is the problem.
Of course. Yeah. This is the problem. And of course, it's known Harakeen, they have a great web of, how they make their funds, their means, how they get this, how they get that. So they always have, and they're great at media. They just are. Always, these guys, they're always great at media. They know how to push certain narratives. They know how to tweet certain things at the right time. They're good at that. So but at the same time, they don't have the haqq. Well, alhamdulillah, we do. Just a little bit of effort, wallahi, it can go a long way.
Okay, I want to mention something, right? I want to ask everyone, on the panel, don't you guys think that the second chance giving and the, how can I say it, the intermingling and us giving the benefit of the doubt thing has hurt us more than it's benefited us? In the long term, because I think that the Salafis coming together and doing something, this was something that was supposed to happen. Obviously, qada Allah qadar, but it's it was something that was supposed to happen a long time ago. And obviously now, we hopefully try, but I think the mindset needs to change with the second chances and he didn't mean this. And I think I've heard this for like a decade. This has been ongoing. I don't know what the brothers think. Maybe they do better than I do. They've been in the scene for longer than I have. As a spectator, obviously, I'm speaking mostly as a spectator.
Are you speaking specifically? What do you, in terms of what do you mean? Sorry.
Over the years from Speaker's Corner time, right? Even with the
hijab, you mean?
Yeah, hijab.
Yeah.
But I'm not just talking about hijab. Just to be clear, I'm not talking just about hijab. I'm talking about hijab and the people that are, you know what I mean, like the associations, certain individuals. Yeah,
I agree. I think it's at what point. I mean, it shouldn't have got to this point, right? But at least we're trying now. We made a step now. But I agree. But the thing is, there's graduates. There's people who are real students of knowledge, graduates, people who are not speaking out. Even it shouldn't be us having to come here speaking. Who are we? Well, who am I? You three might be scholars, but what I'm saying is, I'm just being honest. Why are some of the more qualified people not speaking out against this?
Akhi, when you speak to people that are kharijin or they have doctorate, you know what they're gonna say? Why should I speak about it? There are other people.
This is
gonna be infinite. We're gonna infinitely go there in this discussion, and we'll never get anywhere.
But this is what I said at the beginning of this meeting. That many people who have ability do not push themselves forward, And many of the people who push themselves forward, they don't have the ability.
Yeah.
And when those two things come together, you get some form of greatness, you know, some form of like real ability. This is our brother Abdurrahman, inshallah. And, you know, we're all happy to help him.
A quick comment, Ikhwa. When I was going to like go into this kind of like, you know, try to, you know, get into this kind of sphere, I have scholars I know, right, in that I go back to, right? So when I call them and I talk to them about it, and this happens a lot, they like, they kind of pushed me away from it. You know what I mean? Like they tell me focus on the studying, focus on the reading. And you know, and I love the reading, and I read all the time, everything. But I think there was a discussion that I had with certain brothers that at a certain moment in time, where are you going to spread it? Like, okay, we're going to reach a point, we're going to keep reading and reading, but there is always more to read. Like at this moment in time, there are books I still want to read. And then after that, there are going to be new books that I want to read. And then after that, that will keep going on. So it's like everyone is stuck in this. Everyone is stuck, from the Kharijin, from the people of Doctor, everyone's stuck in this.
Yeah, but obviously we need to give our time, give each thing its right, you know, ideally. You know, we don't stop reading because we're giving da'wah, or stop reading Quran because we're reading hadith, etc. But all of us are failing, you know, to find the proper tawazun. On that lovely topic, Akhi Abdurrahman, Akhi John Fontaine, Akhi Qusay, قيسي أستأذنكم الفجر قريب والله الساعة 3 باقي يعني الفجر أقل من نص ساعة.
No, brother, you've did more. You've contributed far more than you know. It's fair, brother.
It's been a pleasure and an education.
Pleasure. No, the pleasure is ours.
See you next week, inshallah.
See you next week. We'll try to do early. Inshallah, we'll do 9 p.m. UK time.
We'll see you, Akhi.
Next week, inshallah. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair, Akhi.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
We'll see you, brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Subhanallah, mashallah. Yeah.
Okay, we have some others backstage, but like I said, if you can show yourself, even backstage, just so I know you're real and that there's nothing.
You know, there's a comment in one of the comments asking about Islam 21C and DRF. I wanted to speak about that actually, because although I think it's very problematic, both of them, to be honest.
Well, sorry, what's the other one?
What is this, Akhi? I don't even know what it is.
MDRF, whatever it's called.
It's the Sheikh Haytham's organization.
I've never heard of it. I know Islam 21C. It's the other one I don't get.
It's I forgot what it's called, but it's his organization. But a lot of the students who are part of it don't actually agree with Sheikh Haytham. I just want to make that clear as well. That, you know, we have this idea that everyone's kind of being misled by these Yasser Qadhi, Sheikh Haytham kind of ideas in London, and it's not the case. When I visited London, you find that a lot of people are actually sick of it, and I think a lot of people are going to be actually happy to see us speaking out on some of these issues. But again, when you're in a community and your whole masjid, your community, even maybe your job is on the line, it's hard for people to speak out, you know, and go, you know, maybe your family are involved with different families who, you know, and I understand it's not always easy for people to speak out when they're in, you know, a community, a very small community like London, and it can become quite cultish, you know, and so I just want to make it clear that not everybody does agree with these things. Don't presume that if somebody is a part of a particular organization that they're signing up to all them opinions and all that methodology, etc. There's a lot of people who are not happy with it.
You're talking about Aqidah disagreements, or like what are you talking? I don't actually know what's going on.
Okay.
Is it just Aqidah?
In terms of Islam 21C, there has been a conflation, and maybe not entryism. Entryism is a better word. Maybe 5 years ago of Tahrir.
Hello,
as in
I'm back. Hello, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, there has been an entryism of Tahriri, that is Hizb ut-Tahrir's, ideas, systems, beliefs, misguidance. into the Ikhwani sphere, the London-based Ikhwani sphere. So we see that kind of blending of Tahrirism and Ikhwanism in London. As for how much of it is presented, in the certain news organizations or the organizations that John is aware of, perhaps more than myself, then I can't say. But definitely in the past, we've seen this, this alliance, if you like, of misguidance, unfortunately. But they all use atherism as a basis to enter, because it's what's a
Trojan horse.
It's a Trojan horse, absolutely. And as with the case of Mohammed Hijab, you just have to let go of the wheels. You have to get out of your Trojan horse and show your true self. And when that happens, then the game is up, if you like. No one's fooled anymore. I mean, again, many Muslims knew many years ago the reality. But when he himself testifies against himself by attacking Salafiyya or Sunni orthodoxy, then it makes it so much easier. In fact, to be honestly, brothers, the way he would incite blasphemy against the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Ummahat al-Mu'mineen and attack the ulama and so on and forth, insinuating lies against the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and all this kind of stuff. I was hoping he would just stop associating himself with us, with Salafism entirely, with atherism entirely, because let the Ahlul Kalam have him, let the Rafida have him. We don't want this, because this is awful. It's doing the job of the disbelieving Islamophobes before us. Alhamdulillah, the fact that he's come out the way he has these last few weeks, it's like, alhamdulillah, we're free of him, just as he's free of us. There's a brother Ahmed. Do you want to come on the stage? I'm going to let you on the stage. I can't see you, but okay, I'm going to let you on. We had Ahmed on before. We haven't? Can't recall. Okay, so you're on stage, Ahmed. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. I just have a question. I think there was a controversy with Yasir Qadi, right? And like, I don't think that changed anything. He's still sort of, lots of people listen to him. He's doing his thing. And I think the same thing is going to happen with Mohammed Hijab.
Yep. What's the question?
Yeah, I think that was a comment more than a question.
Yeah, we agree.
Well, actually, you saw what happened with the whole the whole debacle with the hotel and him going and doing what he did. If we just think about it for a second, there are people who still watch him after that. Like, just to comprehend, like, these people, some of them are just going to watch him regardless. It's I think a lot of people as well do it for entertainment purposes. But after the whole discussion about him with the secret nikah and all of this, there is nothing to say more. Like, that was, I thought that was going to be like the thing to end all of the discussion about Mohammed Hijab, right? But it's still a debate that ensues. So if this is the reality, like, just imagine one of the Salafi brothers, this was a thing that was exposed about him. Just imagine what would happen to the brother. Like, Khazi, it's done. It's over. It's like, you know what I mean? There's no more. He will be like ancient. It's all. No one will remember him. No one will talk about him. But I think Mohammed Hijab, he's very good at selling himself as this provocateur. You know what I mean? And if something is not working, he'll go on to the next issue. You remember when the whole thing with him provoking people to insult the Prophet and the Prophet's wives? This was like a next level for him. Like, this is something we didn't really see him do as much. Like, we saw certain things, but he went on the next level on this issue, which gained as well notoriety, and then people started talking about him. And now he goes into what? Arab racism and nationalism. So it's like he's hopping from one thing to another. That brother, I don't know his name, but he mentioned this, where Mohammed Hijab is trying to go along with the trend and going with what is hip, right?
He did the same with Christianity.
Yeah,
he couldn't handle Christianity. He had to bring Brother Libiano on to defend him because he couldn't handle Christianity.
Even back
it's not
in with the debate. back during debate, brothers, if you remember with David Wood, there was a whole disagreement with him and Shamsi, and then later on it turns out Shamsi was helping him, getting ready for. So it's like
Abu Yad, Shamsi.
Yad, I'm sorry, yeah, but from it was through Shamsi, right?
I guess so. I can't say.
I think it was through Shamsi, but yeah, so they try to like go from one branch to another. There is the whole as well thing about Libiano, in the stream, there's a lot of things going on, and as well Mohammed Hijab is very good at when there's new talent in the sea, he tries to, kind of attach his hooks on them. I don't know, if your brother's seen this or not, but he's very, very good at, playing this game, and the next trendy subject and topic and person and, thing. So Allah understand.
Yeah.
Okay, subhanAllah, we've reached 1 a.m. UK time, so we've been streaming for 3 hours, subhanAllah. I think we'll, out of mercy for the brothers in the Middle East and out of their obligation to catch the Fajr prayer in time, we may have to close the stream. Now, I want to make a correctional apology from my side. I wanted to quote something from a Dr. Talha where he mentioned something about hijab's whole thing was about Najdism was really to attack Ahl al-Athar, Ahl al-Hadith. And I quoted the wrong tweet or put up the wrong tweet where there was some abuse, which, we don't think to, I don't want to, say that we just want to abuse someone or say cuss words or diss words just for the sake of it. I'm not saying that's what the doctor was doing, but that's not the tweet I wanted to bring on. I wanted to bring on something where he actually made a very substantial point about this being an excuse to attack a whole firqa, inshallah, the whole of Sunnism as a whole. So I brought up the wrong tweet, and I apologize for that. So that's from our justice and for my mistake. Brothers, I'll give you the final words as we close, and let you get ready for your Fajr prayer, and maybe we'll do what we need to do before a couple of hours from ours. Brother John first, Brother Qaisi first. Let's go with you.
Yeah, I just want to say I think the time expectations were, I didn't expect it to go for 3 hours.
Neither did I.
But I think that's good, right? I think if we didn't see that it was going well, we would have just ended it.
Right.
But I just generally think that this has been a great first episode for the show, and hopefully we'll be doing more. As the brother I think mentioned, just very quickly, there was supposed to be a couple of American brothers, on the stream, right? So hopefully, next time it will be more than just 4 people, 5 or 6 people, 5 or 6 individuals. But I think for the brothers who, when Mohammed Hijab says something or any kind of debate ensues, anything in the news that's big, we will be talking about it every Friday. We haven't decided on the time exactly, but it's like 9 p.m. UK time or 10 p.m. around there. It might be different, but I think it's 9 or 10. So we will inshallah be talking about the issues in general in the news and Q&As, and as well hopefully I think there should be talks about certain issues, certain topics like Wahhabism, like maybe specific things that are very specialized that brothers want to kind of get clarified. But inshallah we'll see what happens in coming. We'll announce everything when it comes. So support the brother Knowledge North, Brother Abdurrahman, and do dua for us and for all the Muslims, inshallah. And I hope we can see you guys next week.
Inshallah. Jazakallah for your contribution, Qaisi. And to you, John.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair. Thanks for hosting it and pushing us, getting us to finally do something. And we're publicly saying that we do want to do this weekly, so you can hold us account to that, inshallah. And as I said, if we've got a few more hosts, then it'll give us a bit more flexibility if some of us have to have the week off. But as I said, it's not going to be only about Mohammed Hijab every week. There's lots of points that we want to clarify for the people, because there's a lot going on in the Dawa scene that to the untrained eye or to the sincere average Muslim, they might not see or understand what's going on behind the scenes or see some of the problems that are going on. So inshallah we can shed some light on that and share some information and knowledge that we have on these certain topics, and hopefully people become a bit more clued up on who to take knowledge from and who to support as well, in terms of like the brother mentioned, supporting Dawa. giving, to good charities that you can trust and things like that. So inshallah, but also many different topics, inshallah. And we encourage the listeners to also, comment and give us ideas of things that you're concerned about. If you've got questions, come and bring it on at the end of the show, and we can shed some light on some of the issues that maybe you've come across that you need clarification. We had some of that tonight as well. Some of the brothers are asking about certain things, and I hope we benefited the people there. So yeah, Jazakallah khair, and Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah khair. Antum, Jazakumullah khair, yourselves, co-hosts, and all the guests who contributed, and all the viewers and listeners. We ask you to remember us in our dua, in your dua, I should say, in your prayers, in your supplications, and remember the Muslims all around the world. And inshallah, we will see you again, maybe 9 p.m. next week. Until then, have a good night and sweet dreams, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.